Yo. It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, gotta fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
It is Saturday, October 15th, 2022, and this, my friends, is Grapsody. Welcome to another edition of Grapsody here on your Saturday. I'm Will Washington alongside Philip Lindsey.
I'm here. I'll try not to be mean to anybody. I'll try not to look perturbed. We're in the building. Come on, man.
Also here, Mr. Righteous Reg.
Oh my God, it's me. I'm in the building. Your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster. It's me, Media Man, the game changer. You know what it is.
What building is that, Reg?
It's a building. There's a building somewhere in a place that exists somewhere.
Aha. Look at this man.
Look, I'm on location. I'm just trying to I'm going to give you guys a word of advice. Just go for it and keep going for it until things aren't anymore. That's all I have to say. Just make your own interpretations. But if you're going to go for it, baby.
That's right.
That's it. It's life lessons.
Yeah, I believe in that as well. And yeah, it's Grapsody. A lot has happened this week. So because I forget, we haven't done a show since Extreme Rules. So there's stuff out there that happened in the last week. But hey, before we get to that, I want to make sure that you're doing what you can to support Grapsody. One of the quickest ways to support is simply, bam, hit that like button right there. Just give us a thumbs up. Also, you can help donate to Grapsody. Donate a super chat. We read those during the show. We read those all throughout the show. Also, donate a Humper Chat, humperchats.com. You can send those all throughout the week. You can send those at any point. Just make sure you're identifying what show it's for. And we read all of those all throughout. But yeah, it's been a crazy, crazy wrestling week.
Every time. Never fails. Have we had one where we're just like, that was a boring week? Nah, it's been a while.
Nah, it's been a while. Although, I'll say this. It has been let's say, non-confrontational week. There's been no, drama.
Everything
week.
Is in the ring, actually.
Everything is...
Wait.
There's a little drama. Are you talking about Twitter drama or just, wrestling?
No, we're talking about,
wrestling drama. I'm talking about,
drama.
Nobody fighting behind the scenes this week. Nobody
got slapped. Release. Nobody's trying to go to see their girlfriend at the other company.
Yeah. And we had, I will say that we had some movement because, of course, we talked Bound for Glory last week. Bound for Glory is a really interesting show these days because Bound for Glory tends to be the show where Impact hits the reset button.
It's the Impact season finale.
Yeah,
for the year.
Because a lot of people, their contracts are up and they split. And so, as a matter of fact, the oddest one, of course, is, I won't say odd. It's odd on Impact's part, not odd when you saw the outcome, right? Because we saw the Kingdom. My dear friends, Mike Bennett, Maria Kanellis, and Matt Taven showed up on Rampage last night. They are the Kingdom again, not the OGK, not Honor No More. They are the Kingdom. They're back, original logo, everything.
I did think it was interesting that Maria made sure to say they were the Kingdom, and I was like, I know a certain guy that is not on TV that kind of needs a tag team to be next to you.
I know. I thought about that. I was thinking, well, they started that story with Cole and the Undisputed Elite, and now he doesn't have those two.
They made sure to show that photo with Cole in it too. They made sure to be like, "Hey, Adam Cole's a part of this too. Don't you guys forget?"
That was very interesting.
So that is a thing that lines up. And so yeah, but I just watched Impact last night. I thought that they lost the tag titles on this week's show. They don't lose them till next week.
Impact is
So they
classic for
are
this. I don't know if it's Impact's fault because it happens so often that it feels like it's their fault. Like they know like because they could have just took them off them at the pay-per-view. Why do you guys have them on them after this pay-per-view when we know that's the season finale?
I don't think they knew that they were going to sign that quickly. And I'll say without giving too much detail that I don't even think that how do I diplomatically put this? Okay, I don't know that the Kingdom even knew where they were going when and how soon they'd be there when the tag title thing happened. I mean, when all of that happened. So I don't think anybody knew it was going to transpire that quickly except maybe Tony.
Right.
But so I think the issue, of course, is just that. Yeah, now we're looking at it, and now it like the funny thing too is, they cut that promo on Twitter, which I thought was good. It was a good introduction promo. Mike Bennett, I thought was very good. Theirs, especially, but like they don't even address it. They don't even say we're the current Impact Tag Champions. No, even though on TV they still are. On TV they just literally ran. But you know what though? I said this on Twitter last night. It's been worse for Impact. Impact, at one point, had entire regime changes happen in between tapings.
Right.
Like, a taping set would end.
They've been through every issue you could ever go through, legit.
The next taping set was just like, actually, everybody who was in charge on literally the last episode is gone.
They've been through hell, man.
And like half the roster is now gone. Like, remember they did that taping set and then I think it was like 2017, I want to say it was, but like Jim Cornette had come in and Bruce Pritchard was there and like Cody, all these guys were there, the Hardys, and then like in the span of the month between them going through those just two taping sets, everybody I just mentioned was gone. And so by the next episode, it was like 1 week you have all these people. The very next episode, they're like, actually, none of that worked out. And so we're just going to try something different for this month.
Well,
and then,
welcome to live TV, buddy.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett came back. Well, like, I guess that's the gift and the curse of live TV, right? Is that live TV gives you the ability to just do show to show to show. And, it's like if something changes 1 week, it's changed for that week. But on the other hand, maybe you'd want to have some people around for, a month that you only actually had for a day. Right. And so taping gives you 4 shows with that person rather than 1. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So I get it because I feel like the taping schedule actually benefited NXT a lot back in the day, right?
Right.
Like, it did. NXT back in the day had...
Talk about a show that needs to be taped still to this day, honestly.
But like the fact that they were able to really plan out the way they wanted to plan out, and like, as far as a story arc was concerned, when NXT would tape like 4 episodes at a time, they could play out that story arc in front of an audience in one fell swoop and really get to work on that rather than trying to do week-to-week television. So it's got its benefits, but like this is one of those cases where it definitely has bitten them because they have to actively still promote that we have Impact Tag Team Champions Mike Bennett
and the issue is that Impact will say, they'll be like, hey, they are on AEW now, blah blah blah. Like AEW's not going to do the same. Like, we're never going to know that they were AEW Tag Team Champions. Like, that they were Impact Tag Team Champions. That's over. They're gone. They're the Kingdom now. It's over.
Yeah. No, and the weird thing is they're in a faction called Honor No More, but on the other show, they have just actively decided they want the Ring of Honor tag titles.
They're actually, we want a little bit of honor, you guys. We were just kidding.
We'll take a smidge. Yeah, I don't know. I really want to know what is the story behind the Speedball thing, because now I'm like, all right, you took the title off Speedball,
yeah,
but then Frankie didn't keep the title. So why did you do that?
And I like that option C thing. Like they should have just did that with Speedball, though. I don't get it. Like you could just Frankie Kazarian at this point has earned this. He could just say, "Hey, I want an Impact title match," and they're gonna give it to him because that's how they work. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's weird. So you stop a guy's run with the title to put the title on a guy, and then go, "Nope, I don't really want this title. I want the world title." Then why did you? Why did you have this match?
Also, Bully Ray is there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
very,
totally.
very odd booking decision.
There's a lot going on in Impact Wrestling. Have fun, you guys.
Oh man, that Bobby Fish video. Going
Oh,
Like I said, that was part of why I pulled up Impact was. I mean, I did want to watch the whole show because I thought that video was funny and interesting, and I thought, aren't they in Bobby Fish's hometown? Now that said, I'm not gonna.
Yo.
not in your own hometown, bro. Damn.
Now that said, he somewhat turns it around. Like later on in the promo, he does because I don't even think the fans knew it was his hometown until he says, "And we're right here in my hometown," and then they're like, "Oh, Bobby,
Hey, we
Bobby.
support you.
Yo, I thought it was the funniest part about it is him going, and where's the lie? And it's just like dead quiet. And then he goes to scoot in the ring, and then one guy in the back is like, CM Punk.
He had to have expected this. And what he did, he just thought wrestling fans are all going to be on his side. That's crazy.
Nah, they did get behind him though. And once he says, "We're right here in my hometown," and then they're like, "Oh, okay, we got you, Bobby." Look, I'll give him this. He was never gonna get this kind of promo time anywhere else. So Impact was the right choice for him. He's never gonna get this anywhere. You will
in
never
WWE,
see,
they were not gonna put a mic in his hand at
you were
all.
never, ever.
Never.
Not and confronting the champion at that was never gonna happen. And so Impact is definitely the place for him. He definitely made a move.
Got a title match too, didn't he?
Yeah, he ended up wrestling Josh Alexander for the title in the main event. So, and it was a good match. That was never going to happen in AEW. That's certainly never going to happen in WWE. So,
a match with Bobby Fish and Roman, hardy hard, never, no way.
Yeah. He would have got stomped out by the bloodline, and it would have been ended up.
Would have never heard from him again.
I mean, I'll say this. We talked last week about AEW bringing in Renee Paquette. That's now official. She is all elite. She got a graphic and all of that. She's actively there on the show. And you know what? AEW now has, I think having Renee, having Saraya, and now having Maria in play. And I'm not going to speak too much on the details of their contracts. I think we'll have some stuff on that on Fightful Select, but but as far as they're concerned, hey, that's some great leadership to have in that locker room, I think. And
I think people got to give Madison Rain some credit too. I think that
Yeah,
I think that her being involved in the coaching staff has helped a little bit too.
Yep.
I do think that there's been improvements to the women's stuff for the last few weeks. I'm not sure. I don't want to put all the credit in anybody's laps, but it does look like, they are moving forward, which is good.
The matches have all been bangers too for like the last 5 weeks, maybe. So yeah, they're going in the right direction. I mean, angles and interviews and things still need improvement, but we're just getting started.
And I don't know if you guys heard Saraya on Talk Is Jericho, but she talked a lot about that promo. Like she knows it was bad, and she talked about why it was bad, and kind of she made a point where she was like, you know what, the thing I wasn't expecting is she's like, I come from an environment where writer hands you a script and says, this is what you do. And
that's what we talked about, right?
Yeah. And she was like, I got the encouragement that said just go out there and do it. But like she said, I should have spoken to Moxley and Jericho first, because
Jericho should have been the first person she went to be like, yo, what's up over here?
Telling you could see the shift in the promo where it was going well at first, and then she was like, "Oof, kind of run out of material, and then she was looking around and she was like, "Great to be here, right?"
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing too is she mentioned the whole title thing where she at the very last second was like, "Oh, and it's for the title," and she said that was Justin Roberts like waving at her, pointing at the belt, going, "It's for the title," and she's like, "Oh, and it's for the belt."
Yeah, you could see some of the miscues. It was, that segment was a mess.
She said that Justin Roberts was almost a distraction in a sense because he was like kind of pantomiming things of making sure to mention, and she's like, I'm not used to that. I'm not used to like Justin Roberts trying to give me cues of making sure to bring up this, making sure to bring up that. She's like, this is kind of a distraction, and it's kind of throwing me off. But no, I felt for it in everything she was talking about, where she said that it's going to take some getting used to, but she's like, but this is pro wrestling. And she talked about the whole, the idea of a boss that actually listens to you. And she was like, she didn't think that was going to set the world on fire, but it did. But she's like, that line literally just came from the fact that when she went to Tony with an idea, Tony said, yeah, let's do it. And she's like, she was like, it's a lot different than like all the red tape that you have to jump through otherwise. She's like, Tony is very much like a let's do it kind of guy that if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And we won't do it again.
I said at the time, I didn't understand why people took this as such a big deal. Two things can be true. She could have had a great experience at WWE. Why am I throwing extra W's in there? But she still could have had a situation where she felt like, when I bring an idea, that nobody listens to me and I have to go through all this rigmarole. And so I'm like, you guys have not worked at either company. She's now worked at both companies. I think she has a right to say which works better for her at the moment. And she's been very clear that she went there for freedom and stuff. So I don't know. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. And there's a big Fightful Select story over the fact that it wasn't as cut and dry as she couldn't get cleared in WWE, so she went to AEW where they cleared her, which a lot of people have irresponsibly speculated. And it was a case like Vince was the one that was just like, she went to all these doctors, got cleared, and Vince was just like, yeah, we're moving forward. We're not, we're moving on without Paige.
It was kind of like a Bryan Danielson thing, but they were like, but different because they were like, it's not Bryan Danielson, so we're good here. It's kind of fucked up.
Well, the funny thing with Bryan, though, was that I've always said this, and a number of people believe this is true, and I fully believe it's true. If the timing had worked out by just like a month difference, Bryan would have been there at the start of AEW. And because I think he would have worked all in. In 2018, but the timing just happened to work out again by just a month. Things were off, but I think had All In occurred in August, or if he would have at least worked that show, and I think he would have been a part of that crew. And having been a part of that crew, he would have been a part of the original group that Tony Khan approached to say, let's do this show. And then I think Bryan Danielson would have been a day one AEW guy. But things just happened to work out
for the other guys.
Yeah, they just happened to work out the way they did. But because he ended up signing a 3-year deal in 2018 that I don't think he would have signed had he had the ability to work All In. And had he not signed that, he wouldn't have come in 2021, and he would have come in 2018. I think Bryan was always going to go. I think that's that's my theory on all of that. I do believe he was always going to jump. It was just a matter of when. But considering, like, think of the stuff he was saying in 2016, where he was like putting over Kenny and the Bucks and the all that stuff. In 2016, he's talking about all this. He's like, look at what they're doing in New Japan. This is all great stuff. Look at what they're doing in Ring of Honor. Like, you could see Bryan was staring out his window still, looking at all of that stuff, going, man, I wish I could be doing all of that. I wish I could be working with Kenny. I wish I could be working with the Bucks. Like, he was saying that at the time, or at least implying it. He was implying that these are the guys he's interested in.
Right.
And I think once he saw they weren't going to sign with WWE, I think he's like, I need to be where they are. So,
yeah, speaking of people that were supposed to be on All In, that also is currently up for a contract, is Deonna Purrazzo. She was supposed to wrestle at All In, but of course, WWE being WWE, slid in and was like, "Oh no, you can't do that because you're exclusively signing here," and pressured her into not doing the show. And so I'm curious what she's gonna do. I'm of the belief that she's not gonna stay with Impact. I don't know that for sure. I'm just guessing. But I feel like she's done everything there is to do there. I think this tag title run is a good sign that she was trying to knock off all of her last bucket list things with them and move on. Could be wrong. I wouldn't be mad if she stayed, but I also feel like it's kind of time for her to move on.
Yeah, it feels like as her character, she's progressed past everything that she could do in Impact Wrestling. Like as a character, only thing to do is to go, and it just depends on where she wants to go. She's had a couple of things with AEW, WWE. They're apparently are interested in signing her friend Chelsea Green. So I think to me, Deanna's like an all-star #1 draft pick out of Impact for like any women's division because she can do so much on both sides of the coin and she could talk and she has it all. So I don't really get it, but she's going to land somewhere.
I think she's going to land pretty much anywhere. And the thing is, I think everybody has tried to make goodwill with her, right? Like Tony Khan only got to use her one time, but made sure it was the main event of Dynamite. So I think he at least got to make sure he has that kind of goodwill with her to say, hey, look, when we have you, we want to use you.
Hey, maybe she'll go to WOW, the second biggest promotion in pro wrestling now.
I'll say WOW is doing WOW is doing decently, right? Like that was obviously a boneheaded statement to make, but mainly because you're setting WOW up for cracks like that, right?
Right.
But yeah, WOW is doing well. They pulled like 250,000,
which is pretty.
They've averaged about 250,000 viewers. Now, granted, they do have a ton more exposure than really anybody, right? Like they are in syndication on network television. They have.
It's like the Lakers have their own wrestling promotion, pretty much. That's what WOW is.
Yeah, they have their. They have a ton of exposure, or a ton of reach, and it's worked. They do have the third most viewership on wrestling television between promotions, and that's kind of insane. So
super insane.
Good for them, and
where
good for WOW.
Can you find it though? That's the question. I don't know at all. Where did they show it at?
It's on CW affiliates, right?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's the case.
That's what's up. I think they might have like a little bit of deal with the company that's on Tubi, like the pro wrestling channel on Tubi, maybe. Because I know they've done a couple of like marathon events on there where they have wrestlers tweet about it and stuff. So maybe they're putting episodes on there too. But 250,000 viewers for WOW is amazing in today's climate. Like like I'm blown away, honestly.
I want to read a couple of these super chats before they lose their relevancy, because we've got is that Grandiatos 22 says first time super chat. So glad to hang out with you guys on my BD. Oh well, happy BD.
Oh, let's go.
Happy birthday. Yes. Non-wrestling question. Which is your favorite Power Ranger season? Mine's Lost Galaxy. I'm a Dino Thunder guy, but I like Lost Galaxy. And I like In Space. Those are my go-to, or Dino Thunder and In Space. What about you, Philip Lindsey?
Space is probably the best season. I also am a big fan of Time Force.
Righteous Reg, just like I watched Mighty Morphin, and then that was it.
Yeah, when that week when Tommy was terrorizing the world, that's it. Whatever that is, that's what I'm.
That was Mighty Morphin.
And that's it. Just one season. That's it. I was out after that.
That was a week, by the way. Those 5 episodes, those Green with Evil episodes, started on Monday, and you didn't get the conclusion till Saturday.
It was like a school full of people, all had their own All My Children, because we were out there gossiping like some housewives about what happened yesterday on it.
That was you had to get home in time television. That wasn't the days of like TiVo and like being able to binge watch. You had to be home.
We're about to run home to watch Power Rangers right now. You guys get your shit.
I will say that I have some. I'd say the season I've watched the most is Zeo, and part of the reason I've watched Zeo the most is because you ever watch wrestling moments? You ever rewatch them to get the feeling that you got from that moment again?
Definitely.
When it's a big feel good moment. I will tell you my most feel good moment in Power Rangers ever. And again, this is before the days of like, I mean, I was 10 anyway, so I wouldn't have been knowing the rumors. I had no idea what was going on. But when Jason returned in Power Rangers Zeo, look, Jason had been gone, 2 seasons at that point. Thought he was never coming back. Didn't even think about it. The whole mystery of who's the Gold Ranger going to be, and they kept throwing us the red herrings. They're like, oh, it's Billy, easily. It's Billy, right? And then Billy can't get the power, so they're like, who could it be? And they gave us the red herring of introducing Tommy's brother, and we're like, oh, it's Tommy's brother. I remember we were all speculating in class. We're like, it's Tommy's brother. We know that's who it's going to be.
Jason David Frank was not happy about that, bro. He was not happy that his brother got passed over.
And then you're watching it, and they have this guy in a bandana and sunglasses, and you're like, I mean, that's Tommy's brother, right? Like, Tommy wears a bandana and sunglasses. Why wouldn't his brother be wearing it? And then when they're like, hey, here's the new Gold Ranger. I get goosebumps just saying it out loud. But when they're like, here's the new Gold Ranger, and he takes off the sunglasses, and I was like, it's Jason! Look, that is a mark out moment for me. Beautiful. I go back and watch it every once in a while just to get that feeling again I got when I was in the 3rd grade. Maybe it was the 4th grade. And Jason showed up, and
it's like when Jericho sucks now, but in '99 when his name flashed across the thing, like I still get goosebumps watching that.
Yeah. You think that's a bigger feel good moment than Tommy floating down from the sky as Power Ranger Jesus and taking the helmet off? Man.
That was cool. Well, so, because remember how they did that? Because they did them 2 different ways. Because like Tommy returning as the White Ranger he had the float down moment, and then he takes off the helmet, and then Kimberly faints, and they go to commercial, and we don't see who's behind the helmet. So you spent like 3 minutes at commercial break, like, okay, that's got to be Tommy, right? Like, that was Tommy, because why would Kimberly faint? And then they come back from commercial, and then they show his face, and you're like, yes, it was Tommy, right? But like Jason, they gave you 3 minutes to feel it, because they were like, here's the new Gold Ranger. He takes off the glasses, it's Jason, and then they went to commercial. And so I spent 3 minutes just running around the living room screaming like, what? Jason's back? That don't even make sense. What's happening here? Why is Jason back? And I spent 3 whole minutes at commercial break. Like, you can't even get that feel. If you go find that episode right now, and it's up, it's for free, by the way, because every episode of Power Rangers Zeo is on the official Power Rangers YouTube account. Yeah. But if you watch it now, you don't get the commercial break, so you don't have that 3 minutes to soak in. What the hell? My favorite Power Ranger who disappeared 2 seasons ago, inexplicably just left, is suddenly back?
Yeah, maybe I'm just different also because Jason was never my favorite Power Ranger, so I don't feel the same way on that one. There you go. And yeah, no, Kyle, there's definitely beef between Tommy and if you've ever seen Jason David Frank talk publicly about it, yeah, he be getting them shots off.
Well, you know what's funny too was Jason, like, when you listen to Austin St. John talk about it, he didn't even like know that was supposed to happen. Again, like Power Rangers was written so much like wrestling in kind of a week-to-week form, where they were just like, because they were filming the Turbo movie at the same time, which Jason was also in, and that was supposed to be Jason's comeback. But they were like, we still got like 20 episodes of Zeo left to film. Do you want to just like come in for that and be the Power Ranger? We got this Gold Ranger story, and we don't really like have a conclusion for it. Do you just want to be the Gold Ranger? He's like,
hilarious.
Yeah, let's do it. And so that's the reason why when the Turbo movie came out, which takes place after the Gold Ranger saga, there's 0 references to him. They're like, Jason's back as in Turbo, but they're like, he was just back for like 20 episodes. What are you talking about? He didn't go anywhere.
So if anybody wonders and it's just like, oh, well, you know, do they have beef? The story that is out there about him coming back to do the Turbo movie is that, you know, they pitched it to him, of course, and he was going to turn it down. The reason why he took it is because he was like, okay, but I want to be like a bad guy. I want to have like an actual fight with Tommy. And that was part of how
I'm the one with the muscles and the power.
Yeah, and so that's why he ended up in the movie. So that tells you everything about how he felt when he left.
Yeah. No, it's
Beefing.
yeah, great. I mean, to be fair though, they did the Power Ranger kids dirty because they had them doing that many episodes. You know, the show came on 5 days a week. It wasn't a weekly show. It was a show that came on every day. And when they found out that they were paying them teens like $50,000 for that, and somebody went, "Hey, we're getting screwed." And Jason, Zach, and Trini were like, "Hey, we need to like fix this." And when they went to renegotiate, the staff was like, "We can just replace you, right?" And they did. And
Hey, they hit them with the B2K? Nah.
yeah,
Nah.
yeah, they were just straight up like, "Okay, good luck." And they just brought in Rocky, Adam, and Aisha. We're like,
Moving on. Just
yeah,
like pro
we're moving
wrestling
on.
again.
Yeah, he tried to
Moving on.
strong arm us, and look, these are teenagers who aren't great actors, and we can replace you like that.
Nah, we're not fucking with these teenagers with attitude in real life, dog.
Yeah,
That's just a tagline for the show. Y'all can get
Yeah,
up
no
out of
attitude right there. I'll stand in line.
here. Y'all get up out of here, man. No, if you look it up, there's a ton of backstage stuff from that time period. Like even some of the stuff with Billy that he talks about doesn't sound very good. How he felt like he was bullied for being gay, and a lot of weird stuff from that time period.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially when you think about there's. I believe that in every way, shape, or form. Like just thinking about the culture of the '90s and all that. Like, didn't he try to go to conversion camp? Like he was so like he had some. It sucks. And I'm glad we're in a much better time for that. It's not perfect in any way, shape,
not at
or
all.
form.
It's still awful for a lot of people, but
Yeah.
we're half improved from the 90s for sure.
Yeah. Deontay says, Ask Grabs made my week. Hope my job today is quieter than a Bobby Fish reaction. And I hope my weekend is lit like the best Max caster in AEW reps. Love y'all. Stardom, Goddess, Tag League, go Tom.
Deontay changed his picture. We don't know who you are anymore.
Ebony says, yo, I never catch y'all live since I'm stationed in Guam and it's 2 a.m.
Wow.
here. Hey,
Wow.
well, thank you for catching us live this time. 2 a.m. 2:48 now. What's up, fellas? Just want to say I love and appreciate what you guys do. Phil, I'm from Chicago, too.
Hey,
We
all
lit.
the way out in Guam. Come on,
Let's
man.
go, baby. We super lit.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
The
we really
demo.
appreciate you.
The demo,
Thank you.
baby. Have we ever
Thank
told
you.
them about the demo? That
No, we're not gonna talk. We
weird
don't need to
demo
talk.
out here. I mean,
We're going to talk about the
put it
demo.
out there. Let's talk about it.
No. I don't
Talk about it. You don't want to talk about it? You don't want to talk about
No,
the demo?
no, that's. I'll tell you what, Reg. That is for Ask Grapsody.
We're the lead demo.
We're the
This
lead
guy, man.
demo, man. We out
Yeah.
here.
This
Boys.
guy's trying to be the demo guy. What's going on?
I'm saying.
Orion Ben says now AEW got Maria, Saraya, Madison, women planning.
Yep.
Again, yeah, there's. I think that's gonna really also help morale and vision, and I think there's a whole. I don't know. Maria, we talked with her here on Grapsody, and I feel like now, granted, been friends with Maria for 12 years, so I recognize this is one of those CM Punk points where he says, who fancies himself a reporter? Well, should you disclose who you're friends with? Yeah, okay. So I'll disclose. Like, it's been fully disclosed that I've known Maria a long time, that I do talk to her often, and that she's somebody who, look, you know how we always say that we always big up our people. We always big up our friends, all of that stuff. She's one of my friends. She's somebody who I don't accept slander of. She is somebody whose visions I do believe in, and she's somebody who I'll support.
And
But-
AEW is very lucky to have her for that women's division. She's gonna be a tremendous help to just kind of, because we talked to her and she gave up the vision, and like that's what they need, what she's gonna present to
Yeah.
them. So yeah, we're
And-
super
and
excited to have her.
She's somebody that just even to have around, even as just like a just to be able to talk to about.
She's been in the
character
game,
motivation.
bro, almost 20 years. Like
yeah,
in
she's
the
been
game.
around. She's been doing it a long time, right?
Mhm.
She's been, as she tweeted, she initially tweeted she was the only until she was corrected that Brandy did it too, but that she is one of two women who have been in New Japan, Ring of Honor, AEW, WWE, and Impact.
But Big Brand was first. Ooh, look at Brand.
Brand was CBO in it too, man. Come on.
Yeah,
Let's
the CBO on Flex.
I'll never forgive her for changing her theme to that. I don't know what that was about. We're just gonna act like that never happened. Still love you, Brandy, but
that group chat,
wasn't
that group chat reaction after that theme came out.
I was
Oh
like, yo,
my
what is this, bro?
god!
That was not it, man.
Yeah, but like, she's been around. Maria has been doing it a long time, and she's been doing great stuff. And so, just to have her vision elsewhere, and even if she's not in a creative position, and I don't believe she's going to be, but I think just having her around and just again. The thing about wrestling is just having people backstage. Bryan Danielson's not in any official capacity a coach or a trainer or anything along those lines, but he is somebody that everybody relies on for advice. He is somebody that everybody goes to for helping make better. Now Moxley is in that position officially, but people have been using him since the start of AEW as well. And again, Chris Jericho's been in mentorship roles and things like that. So just having her around and having her is going to be a good thing. And then same with Renee. Renee knows how to produce segments. Renee knows how to produce a lot of stuff. Yeah. And I think just having her around is going to be good. I think I see nothing but
Addison, who was part of the greatest Impact run of women's wrestling ever. Like, you have so many weapons now that you can go to that have been in every situation. Maria was around during the Divas era. Like, there's so much you can.
She was at the start of the Divas era. Like, when you think about that, she was in the first Diva Search. She was in the first Diva Search. Those segments with The Rock, like, this is that
TV,
Maria.
Ooh, it got crazy too before they started regulating what went on with them Diva Search, and they just let them have it. Ooh.
Oh yeah, Christy ate a pie with her butt. Like, this is.
Yo, that is one of the things that I think about sometimes when people dump on AEW's women's division. I'm like, I don't think their women's division hasn't had moments that were nearly as embarrassing as WWE's, but that has been glossed over because WWE got it together around 2016, and it's been much better. But no, I think when you look at some of the stuff before that, I mean, even if you look at some of the stuff after that, like when somebody put that clip of Sasha and Enzo doing a "How you doing" back and forth, I'm like, yo. Can you imagine that promo today? People would have annihilated that promo. Yeah, but no, it's I
suppress that memory.
Darian Pittman asked, by the way, he says, "What's up, fellas? Hope y'all are doing well. Wanted to get you guys' opinion on this season of Atlanta. Much love, brothers."
I love it. The episode where they do the parody of Tyler Perry. It's fucking hilarious. The most recent episode too with the Crank That Killer. Yeah, this season is really funny.
I haven't seen it. I'm triggered every time I watch it. Honestly, I'm gonna let it come out, all happen, and then just watch it in one big piece.
Yeah, the first two episodes definitely did have me in a corner. Like, this is like, what are we doing with life? Because the first episode was a Doom tribute, if I remember correctly.
Shit.
It was a Doom. It was like all of the. I mean, like, they had Earl on there writing what was like the Doom-esque characters stuff, and I know Earl is a Doom fan.
Yep.
Oh man.
And then the second episode where I don't want to give too much of it away, and Ernest in therapy, and they have the stuff with.
Oh my god, I'm guaranteed to be triggered with that episode.
The stuff was just like, spite is a great motivator, but it can be all consuming. That's kind of the message of the episode. And I was like, oh yeah. At some point, I think you do stuff out of spite, and it gets hard to stop doing stuff out of spite, because it does feel good in that moment.
It does.
To be like, yeah, fuck these guys.
It's a drug.
But after a while, it's like, why are we doing this? Like, move on.
Because sometimes even like 5 minutes after, I'm like, I got that motherfucker. I'm like, that wasn't really.
Yeah.
What did I get?
This is a secret for people that enjoy paywall feel. Often after I record them, I'm like, dang, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, I feel that sometimes as well.
It is what it is.
Sometimes we let them slip.
We let him slip, but it's fun. Hey, I want to head over to the Humper chats really quick because we got a few. Dana says, for Grapsody, I've been really disappointed by the lack of TV time for Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks since Grand Slam. Do you see them both featuring on the card for Full Gear, or do you think Tony is done pushing them for the time being? Okay, so I don't think he's done with Starks, and I don't think either are done. I know there's plans for both, and we know what plans are. But this is a thing I've been meaning to ask Reg about, but I keep forgetting to ask. But now on air is not the time to ask about that. But yeah, I guess I'll just leave that alone. I don't know. I mean, I know there are plans for.
That's where. Yeah.
I mean, I think it was very telling that they made sure to keep Powerhouse's momentum going. He didn't take an official loss to Ricky, so he's still in a good position. I think that's a great sign for him. And I mean, I think Ricky got a good win. I think it's just a matter of keeping it going.
I agree, though, Dan. I was just thinking the same. After Rampage was over last night, I was like, damn, where's the big homie at? Like, what's going on here? But I haven't. I have to. Yeah,
that's what I've been meaning to ask.
Yeah, got you. I haven't gotten confirmation on that, but he might have. Yeah. So
okay, so that's the
that's
thing.
A thing.
Okay.
That's a thing.
That's a thing. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
I'm sorry. I know. I hate.
Sorry, you guys.
I know
Everybody's like,
hate,
you guys. Yeah.
I know people hate when we have to do that, but like this is one of those things we can't say for sure kind of things, and but it would line up if that's the case. So I'll just say at the moment I don't know, but I know that there's plans.
Oh, and I saw him last week at the West Coast Pro Show for like 5 seconds. He came out. There was a match with Queen Aminata and
Jungle Kayona.
Yeah. That match was super fire. Botched finished. Kind of put a damper on it, but the match was insane. And so the crowd was a little bit upset about the finish, and so in order to kind of make the crowd happy, Hobbs came out to be like, that was a great match, we're gonna run it back. And just to, because he's a part of I became a bigger fan of Hobbs through West Coast Pro. That's like where I kind of got to know everything about him. And so he came to, it was the anniversary show, for your anniversary show. He came out for legit like 30 seconds. I texted him right afterwards and he was already like in his car leaving. So yes, I did get to see him for a little bit, and he should be back. I'm sure it's not over for either one of them. No. It's just not the time for either one of them also, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think they'll both be like I said, there's plans. I know what the end goal for Hobbs is, but but either way, there's stuff. Somebody tweeted at us. Jason Clay tweeted, unpopular opinion. Big companies like the WWE and AEW want their Japanese wrestlers to get over. They just don't want them to get top tier super over. I'm going to disagree with that in two regards, kind of on both sides. I think Hunter has a pretty decent track record with Japanese talent, and I think Tony has shown a good, decent track record with Japanese talent. Really, the only person who didn't was Vince. And the reason I truly think so is that I think a lot of those, like, guys who grew up in like post-World War II America just have this weird view of Japanese people where they and you could almost see it in the, like, you hear it in like JR's commentary, right? You hear it when Jim Cornette has to ever talk about a Japanese wrestler. I feel like Vince almost introduced Kenzo Suzuki with the Hirohito gimmick. That was the original plan for him, where the original plan was to bring him in as a Imperial World War II gimmick in WWE television. And so I say all that to say that, like, Vince definitely had a view of a Japanese talent can never be a top tier guy in America. Can never happen. Jim Cornette has outright said that. He said that no Japanese person will ever be the top star of a company. It's just not going to happen. He has said that. And You can see it from that generation of Booker, and that's part of why a lot of us have been saying for years, you just have to get those people out of the fucking business. You have to get these people out simply because they have archaic views that, as long as they continue to have them, it's going to play a role in creating a diverse pro wrestling environment.
Right.
That you have to have younger views in there. You have to have people of color in there. That's the only way that any of this stuff is ever going to change. So I do think Hunter's track record was better, though. I think I knew a guy, true story, back when I was still with Fan Off Media. We had a show called Hideous Energy. And one of the hosts of Hideous Energy, this guy named David Hopkins, DC Hopkins. He actually is a world-renowned comic book letterer now. Does great shit. He's very good at what he does. He is lettered for Marvel. He has taught me a lot of lessons about lettering, such as, did you know, and maybe you did know this, I didn't know, that if you use the letter I when comic book lettering, it should only have bars at the top and bottom when it's by itself. Didn't know that at all. So if you're referring to yourself, I, it should have bars. But if it's in the middle of a word, it should just be a straight line. Would never have known that.
Yeah, it's a confusion thing. They don't want it to be confused with an L.
Yeah, and he has taught me a lot about that kind of stuff. But anyway, David Hopkins didn't watch wrestling at all, but he had been surrounded by wrestling-adjacent people. Do you know what got him into wrestling? Shinsuke Nakamura in NXT. That run, the first time he saw Shinsuke Nakamura, he was like, that guy is for me. That guy is doing all this cool shit, and cool. I want to see more of him doing these kinds of things. I think I might watch this. And that's what got him in. And so, like, I feel like Hunter did right by Shinsuke, and then Vince didn't. Hunter did right by Asuka, and then Vince didn't. Yeah. I think that when AEW initially launched, you could kind of see from day one that the woman they were going to get behind was Hikaru Shida. That they put her on the sides of the trucks, the original production trucks. It was Shida and Nyla Rose, right? That they set her in motion from the time she moved to the States, which was late October 2019. That match she had with Shanna on, I want to say it was the October 30th, 2019 Dynamite, Charleston, West Virginia. That night she had that match, that was the first match she had as an American resident, and they set her in motion to become the women's champion. They knew from that moment on she was going to be champion. It was just a matter of when. And they gave her the longest reign. She was champ for a year.
And they pushed the biggest Japanese star in the world, Kenny Omega, to be the AEW World Champion.
It took me a second to even think about where you were going with that.
Wow.
But no, I think as far as both companies are concerned, like, I don't see necessarily anybody right now on the male side of the AEW side of things that like, I think Takeshita can get there.
Tozawa still is in a ninja suit. Let's not forget that.
Is he though? Like, they haven't done those segments.
He hasn't really been on TV in a while.
I mean, it's been like in the last month, maybe.
Yeah, I haven't really seen him since the whole wedding demo with the 24/7 title. So
on main event, they don't put him on regular TV.
I don't watch main event.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that.
I'm willing to give Hunter a little bit more of benefit of the doubt with it. Like, I was never willing to give Vince, because he showed me he had Kenzo Suzuki again, just as the worst example of them.
And speaking of this, have we ever talked about how Kushida has this hand, foot, and mouth disease?
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, like, he's out of action right now. It's kind of crazy, man.
I mean, Kushida's another one where it seemed clear that Triple H really liked him, and he made a big deal about bringing him in. And then Vince was just like, nah. And we got stuck with Jacket Time or whatever the fuck that was supposed to be.
Jacket Time.
Yeah, it's tough because I do feel like AEW has done better by some of them with the presentation. They have at least done stuff like, hey, let's at least do segments with subtitles so we don't have to at least, make the excuse, oh, well, they don't speak English and that's why we're not giving them a shot. But I do think there's more they could do with people like Riho and Shida. I just think that, it's a tough barrier for some fans. but I do think that they've done better in some ways. I mean, just look at everything they've done with Maki every time she comes here. Is it perfect? No, but I think it's a step forward in some ways.
Right.
Yeah, I think, and again, we're still 3 days away from full travel being open. It hasn't opened fully for Japan to the States to just be able to go back and forth. You still have, it's still visa-based travel. And I think we're getting closer. And so I would love to see what it's like when we can get back to where we were starting to get end of 2019, beginning of 2020. Right. But either way, I think that I think one of the more helpful things is just having more people of color in positions to be able to overlook those things. But definitely no more old white men. That is like
it's not working for us.
I mean, I think we're gonna see more Joshi stuff. I think because we're gonna see Stardom women at the New Japan show in New York on the 28th. I think that's the day. 28th. And
Willow Nightingale, by the way, working Tokyo Joshi Pro.
Yes. Yeah. Let's
and
go,
Willow. And we've got the IWGP title coming soon, and that's going to be defended in the U.S. So, hopefully that is a good sign for things to come for Joshi women in the U.S.
Yes. Let's see. We got another Humper chat. This one's from Jennifer. Says, weekly love and little extra since I missed last week. Thank you, Jennifer. We always appreciate you.
Yes,
hope everyone is feeling good and Will is over his cold. I'm going to talk about that here in just a little bit. Much love, y'all. A little bit over it, but the rest of my house is like hacking up. So Yes, I just happened to be the first. Van Twin Blade says, missed last week. Another one who missed last week. Because I had family in town. So here's every match announced for Glory Pro.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go, Van Twin Blade. It says, The Relentless on October 30th. Laney Luck versus Shaza McKenzie. Ethan Price versus Jake Something. Karam and Rohit versus Wasteland War Party. Suede versus Tootie. And one more. We have, where is it? Camaro Jackson. Oh, here we are. Cool. Camaro Jackson takes on Mike Outlaw, Kenny Alfonso, and Xavier Walker in a four-way match. Grindhouse versus Team Bussy. And Blair Onyx versus Heather Reckless. Get ready, folks, because this shit's going to be spoopy.
That's a hot show. A lot of great black talent on there. Mike Outlaw, Camaro Jackson, Kenny Alfonso, Xavier Walker. Definitely check out Glory Pro if you haven't. Van Twin Blade has been along for our Grapsody ride the whole time, telling you guys you should. And if you haven't yet, do it.
Yes.
Shout out to Van Twin Blade.
D-Lo. Man, D-Lo says, Humper chatting to say, I've been in a hardcore babyface Motown Smokey Robinson kick. Love y'all. Also, the Dillinger and Wyatt promo was emotional, especially watching it drunk at a friend's wedding. Did they have it on at the wedding?
Interesting.
Wow. Did they have it on at the wedding, or were you just like on your phone, just like just chilling, watching wrestling at the wedding? Which is fine. You can do that. I was just curious.
Yeah, man, because I was confused at first. I was like, wait, Spears is getting this pin, huh? And then afterwards, when I saw his promo, I was like, oh, that's really nice. Like, if you guys haven't seen it, go out of your way to go see it. It's only, 4 minutes. And, he talks about why he was away. His mother recently passed. I think he said 2 months ago.
Damn.
And he said that she was sick going into it. Like, the way he talked about it was, it wasn't just like a quick sudden passing. He said, we got to be with her through the end, and that's why he's been gone so long. And he also addressed, the thing that I feel like it was reported, but kind of went wayside, that Cassie. So I was trying to remember. I was like, be respectful, don't say Peyton. But Cassie's pregnant, and so
be a daddy.
So
I feel like that was reported.
It was reported, but I just felt like the story just kind of like came and went, passed by some people. It got a pop when he said it. When he was like, I'm going to be a father, and everybody was like, yeah. And then I saw in the comments, they're like, oh, congratulations. Didn't even know. I feel like that story just kind of came and went.
And some people, that story, they won't look out for that. You know what I mean? So.
And I know some people were worrying why he came back as a babyface, why he was doing the 10 gimmick again. So I think it made sense with everything he said in his promo, and it was nice to see him get that moment in his hometown.
He said he was going to do the 10 gimmick again when he returned to babyface. He said that he even talked with Preston Vance about how he said, enjoy it for now, but when I come back, and he told him like 2 years ago, he said, but I'm coming back for my 10 gimmick, and it's almost perfect timing because I think Preston Vance is going to lose.
He's about to be out of the 10 gimmick over there. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And we got Stu back. That was dope.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool too. I don't know if it's permanent. but he definitely at least.
Think it is.
But, I don't think so either. But a nice little nudge, you know.
It was a nice moment.
Out here, yeah.
Eloquent, speaking of which, says, peace, my guys, was at AEW Toronto. Crazy how over in the Acclaimed and Billy are. They got chance even outside the venue. And Swerve got a ton of heat. Great night. Got to meet SRS too.
That's hard. Shout out to Eloquent. That looks, the homie Mike was out at the shows too, and he said it was pretty lit out there. They let Canada, they gave it up.
Yeah.
They gave it up.
Acclaim's hot, man.
Acclaim is super hot. Holy
super
shit.
hot right now.
Man. Good for them.
And Tony P says, was listening to 36 Chambers before the show and curious about something. What is your favorite song from the album?
Great question.
Song from the album. It's a really good album.
It's a great album. It's one of the best ever.
Oh, it's tough to pick.
I mean, so here's the funny thing too, is because I was just listening to, like, Cream is too easy of an answer, right?
It is,
because obviously that's.
But damn, it's Cream, man. That's one of the greatest hip hop songs of all the times.
But also, Method Man features our famous "I'll fucking," and but and those who know the album know what I'm talking about.
But I'm gonna go with the mystery of chess boxing. There you go, because it's dope. I mean, of course, Bring the Ruckus. Come on, man. It's just there's no wrong answer off that album.
I'm gonna go with Protect Your Neck. Just because
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Like that, the game is just like that's so hip hop. The whole album is so hip hop, and everything about them. It's just like this is the definition right here. It could be anything, like Phil said, though. Any song off that fucking album. 36 Chambers, man.
Yeah. Thank you, Tony.
Who's your favorite Wu-Tang member, though?
It's Method Man.
Method Man.
Sure.
Same for you, Phil?
No, Ghostface.
And I think mine's Raekwon.
Man, Shay Shayla Ghost, when it came out, that album is, come on, man.
I like, the thing I like about Ray and Ghost is they made hip-hop is like a language with them. Like, they're like sometimes, like, I've known people that don't understand what they're saying, and I think that's so cool that we, like, have our own, like, hip-hop is its own language, and those guys are, like, pioneers. They're almost like hip hop superheroes to me, like Ray and Ghost, and I mean all of the Wu-Tang, but like what those guys represent is just so amazing. I love hip hop. If I haven't told you guys 1,000,001 times.
So Bill here says something I've been hearing a lot. He says, time to rant about AEW.
Okay.
Too much Jericho and ROH. Not enough AEW stars apart from MJF boring storylines. Bad booking of the women. TNT title worthless now. Too many titles on TV that mean nothing. I fail to understand where Tony is taking this company. I hear all that a lot, actually. Now, I will say that it does appear actively that Ring of Honor is actively hurting people's interest.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
That there's and there's things you can point to where you can even put the stars of Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson together, but when it's over the Ring of Honor title, it seems to lose interest. And I do think that that Ring of Honor does need to. There's got to be an end game for Ring of Honor. That I think AEW is a bigger brand than Ring of Honor in every way, shape, and form.
Most definitely.
AEW needs to take precedence, and it does for the most part, right? But there is concern that there are a lot of AEW fans who just want AEW and don't want Ring of Honor. I think that you are running into the issue of having a lot of like I said, because I had concerns about this months ago when I said that there's a lot of redundancy in titles.
Mhm.
That titles, you could have a million titles as long as they represent something specific.
Right.
But then when you start to have the redundancy in there, where you start to have the, we have these 6-man titles, but we also have these trios titles. Well, those represent the exact same thing. We have the Ring of Honor tag titles, but we also have the AEW tag titles. Those represent the same fucking thing. And so mainly when everybody can compete for them. And so I think that I don't know what. Like, I get it. I get they're trying to get Ring of Honor a TV deal. I feel like they want Ring of Honor to be its own thing, and they're trying to get it there. But in the meantime, it is eating up a lot of AEW's TV time and a lot of, and I feel like it is driving some people out.
I get it. I originally thought there was going to be a lot of crossover because it seems like like AEW exists because of Ring of Honor. But I have been seeing online a lot that people are super turned off by all the Ring of Honor stuff. So, like, I'm not, because I love Ring of Honor and shit, but I understand if you're coming for a certain something and you're getting all of this all this ROH stuff. I understand. So I don't, as you know, I've complained about Chris Jericho and what they're doing with the Ring of Honor Championship anyway. So I want to know what the end game is. There has to be some kind of, I think that's what it is, because it's like the Ring of Honor Championship exists, but for what? Like, what is it leading to? What's happening? We don't know. There's not another ROH show announced. There's not a TV deal. There's nothing. It's just like these belts exist, which works for me. But again, the people in the live crowd, they don't. If you don't have an attachment to Ring of Honor and they haven't really got you to be attached for any reason, why would you want to see it? So it's unfortunate.
It's a tough situation because I think that I would love to see them move the Ring of Honor stuff to like a YouTube show, maybe an hour show every week. But the problem with that is the second you move it off TV, it feels like it loses importance. And I think that you'll have that crowd that'll be like, oh, well, they brought Ring of Honor just to put it on YouTube, even if it is just a step just to do that until they get the TV deal. So I get it. I get keeping it on TV to keep it relevant. But it does sometimes feel like it's a little too much of it. The only thing I will disagree with that I've seen people saying, and it was like, oh, well, if you have Jericho and Bryan, then that's not enough to get people interested in the titles. No, people weren't interested in that match because we've seen it 3 times over the last few months. They've gone back to that match too many times recently.
We just saw it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they just had it in a tournament. They just had it all out. No, they've gone back to that. I felt like the biggest issue was that they went back to that matchup too soon. I don't think that they should have used that for the Toronto match. I knew why they did it, because they felt like they needed a big match for Toronto. They didn't have Kenny. They didn't have Punk. But I think they went back to it too many times recently. And then the other part of it is I thought it was fairly obvious that Bryan was going to lose. Like, the second they announced it, I was like, all right, it's in Canada. Jericho's not losing in Canada. The other part of it is he's now pushing this, I'm going to beat every Ring of Honor champion. So it's like, all right, well, it's too soon for him to lose the title. And then it wasn't a main event. So I was like, no, he's losing. It's very clear he's losing. And so I feel like they just went back to this match too soon. And
you're not supposed to use Bryan Danielson isn't supposed to be the lead up to Dalton Castle. No disrespect to Dalton Castle, but you're not supposed to beat Bryan Danielson and then like he's supposed to be the end goal. They were supposed to finish with him, finish the whole thing. They went back too soon.
They went too soon, and then I have to go back to the conversation we had about this because, I was told, the payoff to this would be Bryan going to beat him. And, hey, Bryan still could beat him, but I just think the way that they've done this hasn't really done them any favors. I don't really care for the way that they've booked the Ring of Honor world title.
Me neither.
I think that they've booked the pure title pretty well. I think that when Mercedes wasn't injured, they booked that title pretty well. The stuff between the Briscoes and FDR was good enough for the Ring of Honor tag titles to feel relevant, but I just don't enjoy what they've been doing with the world title.
The issue is I don't know what to do with it though. I think they did what they should have did, and just like you were saying, if it was on a YouTube show, people are gonna be like, it's a YouTube show, so we don't care. Like, I think they're doing what they should be doing. They should be showcasing it on the TV shows. They should be trying to get people to care about it, but it's just not working. So,
I mean, I guess I'll be the lone man here and say that I enjoy Chris Jericho a lot, actually. I have actually in 2022. And again, the cool thing about Jericho antics is that man has me blocked on Twitter, so I don't have to see nothing he ever does because I don't know about
Blocked
it.
by Jericho, baby.
Sorry, I'm
Blocked
fully
by
blocked.
Jericho.
But I will say, as a performer, I feel like a lot of people raise their eyebrows every time somebody says Chris Jericho is having a career year in 2022. But
He is.
he's having a career year in
Oh
2022.
yeah, no, he's definitely working.
He is.
I've enjoyed Chris Jericho kind of more than I've enjoyed Chris Jericho. I enjoyed him a lot in 2019. I feel like he got played out very quickly in 2020 and 2021. But this year, I'm sorry, he's actually very good. And I have to be able to put political stuff aside when it comes to pro wrestling, mainly because
if not, there wouldn't be
look
any pro
at
wrestling.
the entire fucking industry. I would not be able to do anything ever if by politics decided my pro wrestling. I couldn't, right? Because it's everywhere. There's no place I can turn where I wouldn't run into it. So
Everybody made their little donations. All you have to do is pull them up. Everybody did. Everybody.
Well, look, I like Hunter as a booker. I know how Hunter votes. But I don't care. I mean, it's not that I don't care. It's that I can't let the two go hand in hand. I can't be like, hey, I love The Dark Knight as a movie, but also, and Commissioner Gordon was probably one of the best parts of it, but also Gary Oldman is a big Trump supporter. Like, what am I supposed to do with that?
I mean,
I can't.
I mean, that's part of still trying to enjoy Harry Potter movies at the moment. It's like, he's awful. Which, by the way, man, rest in peace to Hagrid, man. One of the best characters in the movie. One of the most perfectly cast characters in the movie as well. Rest in peace. But, no, I hear you. I do think that Jericho's having a great year. But I just still don't think he needed that title. And I don't see anything he's done with that title so far that I feel like, all right, well, this is making the title more important. I just don't see it. And I get what they're doing. I get highlighting other Ring of Honor guys. I like it. And, hey, we might get to the end goal of this a few months from now, and I'm like, hey, this worked out. But I just think for now, it's been too much kind of hot potatoing with the Ring of Honor world title.
I mean, I will say that Jericho is, when it's all said and done, I think it is going to be looked back on well because he is bringing attention to guys that he wouldn't have otherwise. I know multiple people who said to me they had never seen a Bandito match before that Jericho match.
Which is crazy.
Now they could say that they've seen Bandito, right? And it's not that crazy, right? Because Bandito
it is if you're an AEW fan. Did you watch All In?
No, well, that's the thing. It's AEW's been, I mean, look at All In versus AEW. Like AEW is much bigger than All In ever was, and so
no. But I'm just saying that if you've been here from day one and you're a hardcore AEW fan, I can't see you not seeing a Bandito match. That's
sure, but I know plenty of people who started watching AEW because of Punk. Right? They came in 2021, and so they have no context on Bandito. Saw Bandito versus Punk. Punk did a lot of good. Man, I know.
He brought some people in. It wasn't all heat.
I know. No, Punk did. Punk brought fans. Like
he did. He totally did.
Somebody sent me a tweet last night, and they were like, it was somebody trashing Punk because that's the new thing to do, and I was just like, I can't comment. I just
no, Punk brought in fans. Punk did things, and I think people have it's disingenuous to not acknowledge that. But I know people who only watch because of Punk, and so now that they're fans, it's like they don't know who Bandito was, but they're like, damn, he's dope. I want to see more of him, right? Where I feel like that's probably going to happen with Dalton Castle, where they've never seen him before, but now that they're in a place to get exposure to him, we'll get to see more of Dalton Castle.
Are they not six-man tag title holders anymore? Because they didn't have the belts.
They did have the belts on.
They didn't have the belts last night. That's why I was asking.
They did. They had it during the entrance. I specifically was staring at the belts. They had them.
I don't remember. I was high.
I don't think Dalton was holding his during the promo, but the other two were. That was they had him.
Oh yeah, they're still the champs.
Yeah, they're still the champs. And they had him. Because I remember looking at them thinking, God, I hate those belts. Like, I'm a big belt guy, obviously. I hate the design of those belts. And I remember looking at them last night going, fuck, I hate those.
So
But
do you think we're gonna get final battle out of this? You think that's gonna happen?
I think so.
Yeah.
But either way, where I was going with this was just, I think when it's all said and done, Jericho will have given exposure to a lot of former Ring of Honor champs. And hey, they've brought in more now, right? Like, I know he's got like the least popular Ring of Honor title reign of all time, and some credit it with being the reign that like killed the company. But Matt Taven's there.
Yeah, I mean, no, you've got mileage with this thing, and that's why again I knew he was gonna lose because I'm like you can still run this and milk this and have him put over other Ring of Honor guys.
Like our problematic fave, low key. Like nobody's gonna be mad at seeing low key on TV. I mean, some people are gonna be mad. But,
Yeah.
Man, low key. Yeah, I don't think we'll see low key on TV.
Yeah. It's a shame Adam Cole's a heel, right? Because that's another one you could bring in, and like that would. I mean, it depends. Like obviously, there's a lot going on with Cole.
Not having
but,
Kyle hurts too, because then you could do that match as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of others you could expose here, but I feel like the thing they should be doing is using the lesser known names against Jericho to establish that, hey, these guys are actually pretty good.
Definitely.
Brent says, first live AEW show I've ever seen. Still processing how much fun Wednesday was. Lost my voice chanting and screaming. Hope you all had a good week. I mean, yeah, I'm happy for you, the Canada fans who finally got to see all that stuff. See, now Ruben says, kind of disappointed there wasn't a "Are you stupid? Are you dumb?" sign in Toronto, in that Toronto crowd. PS show was lit.
Yeah. Shout out to all the Canada people, man. Looks like everybody had a great time, man.
Shucky Ducky says, not gonna lie, yellow and pink SPD Rangers had me thirsty.
Okay.
Look, I mean, I think we all had our yellow and pink crush at some point. Like
Aisha,
a lot of people.
sure.
Yeah, mine was Aisha. I loved Aisha, Yellow Ranger. My favorite, like my first pink crush was Cassie, and so that would have been Turbo in space, and then Ashley was dope too, though. I don't know. I like my Power Rangers. Chi-Town Spurs says, Power Rangers is my favorite show as a kid. Watched it every day. How do you guys remember this stuff? I have zero memory of any of this.
This is Will Washington we're talking about, you guys.
Hey, but Phil does too. Like that's
yeah. I will say that I watch stuff like Super Sentai fairly often. That's why.
I mean, my son's a big Power Rangers fan. That's
part of it too.
Yeah,
my nephew's birthday is a few weeks after mine, and so watching him discover all these things that I loved as a kid, and like looking as far as his parents are like, where did he get all these stuff that he loves, like Pokemon, all these other stuff, and I'm like, he's a Cancer. So the stuff that I love, like all of a sudden now he loves Sonic, and I'm like,
it's influence.
Me. Yeah, let's see. I don't know. I'm watching, like my son's watching Dino Fury right now. I've been watching it with him, and it's a fun show. Zero Prime says Tony versus Sheeta is going to be fire. Sheeta promo talking facts. Look, as we always say, everybody's best match is with Hikaru Shida.
Tony Storm gonna do it.
Tony Storm's already had great matches. So I'm just saying. Imagine Tony Storm having her best match in AEW with Hikaru Shida.
Yeah, I'm glad that she finally said the truth that I've been saying for the longest, that she carried that division during the pandemic, because she doesn't get enough credit for that. And I appreciated that she said that. I don't like
John Moxley's name. She was like John Moxley, don't y'all better not forget.
Yeah, we always say it about Moxley. It's the thing we say all the time, but Sheeta's not the name they bring up, and she was champion longer.
Yeah, still the longest reigning champion in the company.
Yep.
Let's see. RH says, when can we get Nakamura versus Speedball?
I know they had some interest in Speedball when he was going through his visa stuff or whatever issue that he had, that WWE. He was in talks with WWE to get him out of the whole thing, but it kind of fell through. So, I mean, one day we could possibly see Speedball Mike Bailey in the WWE. I think Hunter would like him a lot. I'm sure he knows who he is because Hunter knows who everyone is. So, but also
Hold on.
Nakamura. That's a great question. Like, where is Nakamura? What the hell's going
So
on?
he just posted he's in.
Oh, he was at
Japan.
at the
Yeah.
funeral. I did see
At the
that.
funeral.
Yeah, the last time I saw him, he was in that Hit Row segment backstage. Which, what the hell are they doing with Nakamura? What the hell are they doing with a lot of guys over there? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Well, Hit Row this week. Got to talk about
I
that. We're going to talk
know,
about SmackDown here in just a second.
know.
So Martin says, "What do you guys think See, this is weird to me. I can't even read this out loud. But he says, "What do you guys think the amount of hate on AEW, Cornette, Russo, Booker T, Helwani, Joey Janela, Jobber Nation, etc." Look, first off, do not mention Jobber Nation.
Oh God, I didn't want you to say it out loud when you're reading.
Don't put that with any of those names.
Yeah, the problem is all of those guys that you named before that are guys that are in the industry,
in the
and
business.
they're
in the
working.
business, not the business.
Jobber Nation is a troll account. Like,
Yeah, that's a troll account. Like that doesn't matter.
Booker T is hella funny. Though, do you guys see what he said about Jimmy Smith? He's like, we can't let him be in here like that. That's what they think of us. Why are you so mad, Booker T? You guys think Jimmy was out of line though?
though?
What are you talking about with Jimmy Smith? Are you talking about when he said Roman's not a fighter? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, this is a guy who made a career, and I'm talking about Jimmy Smith, a guy who made a career off of MMA,
Right.
who then got to call pro wrestling. If anybody's qualified to talk about that, it's him.
Right.
And he wasn't even saying that in an insulting way. He was saying,
wasn't.
look, Roman's a performer, and he's great at performing. But he, at the end of the day, is a performer. And look,
Roman will say the same thing. He's not like, I'm a badass fighter. I'm a
Hey.
WWE superstar, bro.
Okay,
and guys, we got to stop taking offense to this.
Yes.
Because we aren't watching real fighting. We know what we're watching.
I don't want the guys to fight. Like, I don't want Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn to really fight each other. I want them to put on a great performance. I don't want to see them go in there and fucking knock each other out. That's not what this is about.
I have no reason to take offense to anybody telling me this. Do you remember the old Stan Lee clip where Stan Lee was asked who would win in a fight between, I think it was The Thing and Spider-Man, and Stan Lee said, "I'm going to answer this question once and for all. Whoever will win between Spider-Man and The Thing is whoever the writer wants to win, because that's how this works. These are fake people, and if I as a writer want to decide," he's like, "it don't matter how strong somebody is. If I as a writer decide I want Spider-Man to win, Spider-Man's gonna win, and I'll find a way to get there, but it's fiction. Stop
If
asking
Rey
that question."
Mysterio's gonna beat up the Big Show, he's gonna do it because they writing it to do that.
Yeah, and so like the idea of well, this person could beat this person. Could this person beat this person? Whoever the booker decides is going to beat this person is going to beat this person. It's that Stan Lee adage, because at the end of the day, it's fiction. It doesn't matter. Like, obviously, these are real questions you can ask when it comes to legitimate fight sports. You can ask these questions with boxing. You can ask these questions
And
with
Jimmy didn't
MMA.
say, I don't think wrestlers are tough. I think that's what wrestlers get so caught up in, like, these guys don't think I'm tough. He didn't say that. He just said you guys are not, like, there's two different things. There's a professional fighter and there's a professional wrestler.
I also think that the way that almost everybody that works for that company and all of their fans are just so, I can't say the word I want to use on air. What they're doing with Roman is kind of whack. I just think that we get it. Roman is great, but it's just like, y'all don't have to go this hard for this man. We all know that he's great. He's the number one wrestler in the world on PWI. He's getting his credit. He has 2 belts over his shoulders. Y'all don't have to defend this man anytime anybody says anything about him. It's not that serious. Calm down.
He's the guy. We know it.
We get it. He's the guy. And it's just like, oh, well, you can't be saying that about Roman. Or that Braun quote this week, oh, I don't think he should ever lose. It's like, fam, stop, man. Like, what are we doing?
I've seen that a few times, too, of people being like, just let Roman have it forever. But, like, come on, you guys.
It's getting a little nasty, man. It's like, all right, man, he's great. We all get that he's great, but calm down.
Darian Pittman says drunk game from ODB. Yeah, that's a good one. Van Twinblade says,
did we answer that guy's question, by the way?
What was the question?
We all got so disgusted that he said.
Yeah. No, just what is it with all
the question?
What is it with all the hate? I mean, look, it's like, we know what it is from Russo. Russo has been trying to get wrestling without wrestling over for a long time. So any product that didn't follow
Jerry
his
Springer,
formula.
bro. Jerry Springer, bro.
Like he, I talked about this on Day After Dynamite a little bit, but I've been reading old observers because it's always great to read stuff from the moment in time to get the idea of what it's like at the moment in time. Like, it's easy to look back on Russo destroying WCW in hindsight, but it's even more fun to read it in real time. And so I was reading from the first month of Russo in WCW and some of the stuff that was leaking out. And one of the things he had said straight up was, not only did he want as little wrestling on the program as possible, he was gonna like fine people for having a hold applied for more than 5 seconds.
You getting fined for wrestling is crazy.
He literally said if
on
a
wrestling
hold is
show.
applied for more than 5 seconds, like it's too much. He wanted little wrestling. He wanted to write soap operas. And like, that's not to say that drama isn't a good thing in pro wrestling, because I think it is. It's not to say that you don't need storylines. You absolutely need storylines. But I fully disagree with the idea that it's the best thing about pro wrestling. As a matter of fact, I still feel it's the worst thing about pro wrestling. And let me elaborate on why I feel that way.
You are on your own on that one, buddy.
Hold on. I'm going to steal a point from one Trevor Dane. Pro wrestling. At the end of the day, the thing pro wrestling still does best and still does uniquely is the in-ring stuff. Whether it's moments in the ring, whether you're storytelling in the ring, whether you're just doing a bunch of moves, at the end of the day, that's the thing wrestling has unique about it. When you take that away and simply do the drama, then you're trying to just put on basic television work, right? But like, when you put it up against the best stuff on television, doesn't even compare. When you put it even up against the most mediocre stuff on television, it doesn't compare. The part that sets wrestling apart from other television products is the in-ring product. That's what makes it unique. If you take that part away or minimize that part, then all of a sudden you're just left with drama that's not as good as other drama. If I'm only watching for the drama, I guarantee you I can get it better elsewhere. And I watch great television. I spend a lot of my time watching great television that has great drama. I have never watched a TV show in my life better than Breaking Bad. You're never going to top that with performers in pro wrestling who, I'm sorry, as far as acting chops are concerned, aren't as good as those people.
So, now they're about to get you out of here. You're right next to Jimmy Smith. They're not acting.
I'm sorry,
I
but
get
like,
what you're saying, but saying it's the worst thing about wrestling, that's a little.
No, I'm not. I'm saying this. I'm saying that wrestlers are good at the wrestling product, and wrestling product it encompasses so many things. It encompasses the in-ring, it encompasses the drama, it encompasses the promos, all of that. And I think wrestling is a combination of those things. But if you just try to do one of those things, the only one that wrestling does uniquely well is pro wrestling.
Right.
That's fine,
Other than that,
but I just don't think you can say both. I don't think you can say that we all know that these are fake fights and this is not real, but then also say, all right, well, the wrestling matters more than the stories, because the reason we care about the outcome of the match is the story. And so I can't say that it's the worst thing about it. It's
Not
just,
we, though.
I'm not saying that the stories.
Because
are
I
necessary-
sometimes don't. When people talk about stories, sometimes I'm like, I don't give a fuck about a story. You can put two wrestlers in here who have no backstory that are just doing a bunch of spots, and I love that shit. They always try to lump everybody into like, we don't like this shit. We don't like
saying
this.
it, but
I
I'm
like
just
that
saying-
shit. Like
No,
I
I'm just
represent
saying
that.
that's
you
a
know?
big reach to say that it's the worst thing about wrestling.
for
This
me,
story, that's wild.
Like the way I put it is this: a good story with a bad match, I think, has a much bigger everlasting stink than a bad story with a great match. I think a great match can wipe away a bad story, but a good story cannot wipe away a bad match. And I think
The Fiend, Hell in the Cell, Seth Rollins.
there's no,
I mean,
there's
all
no good
of that
story
stuff,
to that though.
That was bad story and bad match. But like the one I brought up on Ask Grapsody when we talked about this was Hogan and Rock, and how the build up to that was awful. Like I said, The Rock got run over by a semi truck and wrestled the match. Anyway, and that was just to write him off of TV because he couldn't be there for the whole build. Either way, shit build, right? But you remembered what happened in the ring. And because at the end of the day, the in-ring match delivered. None of the build-up even mattered. Nobody remembered that Hogan tried to heal the fans still. Nobody remembered any of that stuff. That didn't matter because the match delivered at the end of it. But on the other hand, you have great build-up in Sting versus Hogan that built up for a year and a half. But at the end of the day, all of that stuff got washed away because the match stunk and didn't deliver what it was supposed to. So those are my like two most defining examples for me as a fan. Like when I talk about in ring, I am not just talking about moves, right? I do believe in storytelling. I do believe in I am a believer that Rock and Hogan is one of the greatest matches of all time. I do believe that best match of 2019 was Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. That I still believe in a good dramatic in-ring product. I just believe that doing dramatic in-ring work.
I just think you gotta clarify that point though, because when you just come out and say that story is the worst part of wrestling, that's a wild soundbite. I think you got to make that point a little bit clearer.
Well, because again, I use Russo as an example because he is the biggest offender of trying to do the most non-wrestling stuff on pro wrestling. That he did attempt to do a pregnancy angle that revolved around who is the father of Stacy Keibler's baby in WCW. A storyline that can have no in-ring conclusion because how do you conclude that in the ring? Like at the end of the day, all stories have to conclude with something happening in the ring. And he was writing stuff. Claire Lynch was another one in TNA where it was one of the worst angles of all time. And he was trying his hardest to write stuff that didn't have the ability to conclude in ring. Now, that's Russo I'm talking about. Cornette, on the other hand, he has just been stuck in 80s pro wrestling for a long time. I'd like to say that what he talks about is new, but go back and listen to his rants from the 90s. He was anti-Attitude Era too. He was anti all of that stuff. He's very much been and look, it's not a knock against the guy, but I once had an exchange with Jim Cornette where he told me that the most wrestling wrestler of all time was Dr. Death Steve Williams. That when you look at I'm serious, he said that his prototypical wrestler, the person he would have built an entire company around, was Dr. Death Steve Williams. That is his prototypical wrestler. That is who he believed made up for what a wrestler should act like, sound like, look like, be like.
The bro was sad, bro, for all.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And I like Dr. Death, but I recognize that you're telling me that was your guy. And granted, if for those who don't recall, Dr. Death was supposed to be the game. And by that, I mean, he was supposed to get the push that ended up going to Hunter in 1999. That was the original plan was we need somebody who is going to be Austin's counterpart. And Austin's counterpart, somebody who is, because at the time the Attitude Era did not have anybody on the heel side of things who could be seen as big and as strong as Steve Austin, who is as menacing and conniving as Steve Austin, but just on the other side. And originally the plan for that was we're going to build Dr. Death Steve Williams to be the counterpart to Steve Austin. And eventually they ended up figuring out that actually Hunter was that guy. Could you imagine had they gone with Dr. Death Steve Williams?
Wow, we could have a different wrestling right now would be different.
Wrestling right now would be different. Hunter was that guy.
He wouldn't have gotten the angle with his wife who got, you know what I mean? So much could have changed if he wasn't that guy. It's crazy. The whole trajectory of what professional wrestling is today would be different if Dr. Death was the game instead of
Hunter. That's wild, right? But Russo just has a different view. Look, Booker T is signed to WWE, and he's been signed he's got a decade-long contract.
We know what Booker,
and he's only 3 years into that contract. We know where Booker T lies. Regardless, the thing I will always say as far as pro wrestling is concerned, because obviously we had our criticisms for AEW just earlier. We just talked about all of the Ring of Honor stuff, and I do think that it is not doing well for the product.
Right.
All that said, if you like it, I recognize that a a lot of people need their views to also be co-signed. It helps. It helps you.
Yes.
I fully understand that. I recognize that. But like, you can't get wrapped up in people who oppose your views.
Right.
Yeah.
Find your guys.
That's the issue.
That's what it is. I think just find your guys.
Yeah.
Because they're
Watch the
entitled
rest
to their
fight.
views. I think Cornette's entitled to his views.
Definitely.
I think he's wrong in a lot of them, especially
All
in
those
his-
people that are actually in the business can say that because they put in work and they
Yeah.
earn the right to be shitty if they want to.
fully entitled to their views. I mean, look, I think Cornette is an abhorrent racist,
Mhm.
and I think that a lot of stuff gets swept under the rug because he's like, hey, he likes this one black person, and it's like, yeah, well, like I get why he likes Lashley. It's because, and I like Lashley. Don't tell me I don't. Love Lashley. Denver Pride, baby. But Lashley, the reason Cornette likes Lashley, because whenever somebody says, whenever we say Cornette's racist, they'll always say, but look, he likes Lashley. And it's like, because
He likes New Jack, bro.
New Jack did not like Cornette.
He didn't like him.
No.
Yeah.
But and think about what his go-to for New Jack, by the way, was.
That's why I
yeah.
said that, because I'm like, I don't think you guys realize what you're saying when you say he likes New
Yeah.
Jack, but
Right.
you know.
Right. But Cornette, think about Lashley and how if you were
The nigga would describe Lashley as one of the good ones. Come on, let's
exactly.
Be real about
That's I was trying to get
Come
there.
on. Yeah.
I was trying to get there in that, like, Lashley is one of those guys who I think any racist would cite as, no, I like him. Look at him. He's completely inoffensive. Look at him. He dresses nicely.
Served our
and
country?
Yep.
He served our
Mhm.
country. He speaks so well.
Speaks so well. Oh
Yeah,
my
speaks
god! I almost
so
broke
well,
my
yo.
chair in half.
Look,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
you know
Anger.
that if somebody like Cornette, when he picks Lashley, you know that Lashley doesn't offend his senses. Because on the other
That's
hand,
what it is.
he cannot stand talking about the New Day. When the New Day comes up, he almost wants to like vomit, like it choke himself. He can't stand talking about the New Day. But you and he says that he calls them clowns. He says it's clown behavior, that he just can't stomach all of that stuff. And that to me represents like I said, when a black person doesn't offend his senses, when it doesn't offend his abilities to for what he sees as normal, then it's fine. It's great. That's Bobby Lashley to him. But when it's the New Day, all of a sudden, it's a problem. I do fully believe Cornette is like an abhorrent racist.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
he finds his justifications in guys that don't offend his senses.
And how did we get on 20 minutes on these fucking?
Sorry.
Yo,
Sorry.
so here to wrap all of this up, I think that the common trend with all of the guys you mentioned in that super chat is that people are welcome to their opinions, but
Yep.
once you start, well, before I say that, I think that both fan bases, WWE and AEW, get very offended when you say anything negative about their product.
They do.
And they jump to the defense. But I don't think that you help your case after you do that by then singling out that fan base and doing, oh, this fan base is the worst, because then they feel enabled to come back at you and keep going back at you and combating you. If you keep trying to argue back and forth with a fan base, they're gonna keep doing it. Like, so the worst thing you can do, if after the fact that you disagree with people's opinions, and go, oh well, you guys are stupid anyway. It's like no.
That's
Nah.
not the way to do this, man.
And that's not to say that everybody you mentioned did that, but that is a common trend that I've seen with a lot of people once they get.
You guys are triggered. You're dumb. You're all this.
Yeah,
and it's
you
like,
guys,
no,
you guys
that's
are
not the way to
AEW
go about it.
freakazoids, so you guys are all terrible. It's like that doesn't help you. Like, you're just digging a hole for yourself. And again, I don't want to single out anybody. As we talked about in Ask Grapsody, I don't like talking about other media folks because I feel like it's kind of low hanging fruit.
It is.
But I just don't. I don't think that you help yourself when you start being combative with people's fan bases, because it's just. You're just gonna.
Why?
It's a never-ending battle at that point, and I've had to stop myself from going back and forth with people because it just keeps going.
No, I think anybody's entitled. Look, wrestling is so different right now. That's the thing, is
Hella
all the
different.
products are so different that, like, you know, I try to take in as much of it as I can, but at the end of the day, I gravitate to the products that cater to my taste. Like Raw caters a lot more to my taste these days. SmackDown doesn't cater a lot to my taste. I liked a lot on SmackDown this week, but for the most part, the show doesn't cater as much to my taste as Raw does. And and the thing is, you're also entitled to an evolving taste. You just are.
True.
Because I've heard people say, hey, back in the day, you used to not be much on in-ring stuff and you were more about storylines. You could probably pull up a podcast where I probably said the exact opposite of the stuff I said earlier because I've been doing this shit for 17 years. Tastes evolve. Yeah. I'm 35. This shit's happened. So I want to talk about a couple of things really quick. I have a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I know we see each other every week. So I feel like multiple times a week, actually. Definitely. And you, the Fightful audience, have seen a lot of me over the last few weeks. Question. Have you guys noticed anything different about me?
I don't know.
Huh. I mean, looks like you might have been getting your weight up out there. You trying to get in the ring?
So actually, that's the thing. I am glad you noticed, Righteous Rage. Because
your boy's trying to get in the ring. Come on, Will. Let me know right now because I'm going to be your manager and I'm going to do your entrance music.
Actually, I accept all of the above. But what I was actually going to say is that I have actually been really working on getting my body in order and getting fit. That's actually been exactly it. Look, I haven't been happy with my shape in a while. And I want to take this time a little bit to talk about Grapsody's newest sponsor. Because, over the pandemic, I got really out of shape. Like, completely out of shape. I felt like I spent just a lot of time working at home, and I've been doing podcasts from this very chair, and it's just very easy to snack and let weight get out of control. I swear to you, I gained a lot of weight over the pandemic. And I tried multiple times to create a routine to get active, get myself fit, and it was tough. Every single time I did, I felt like I was on track for maybe a week or so, and then I'd fall off. People had noted in my background, they could see my workout bench that wasn't put together in the first couple of months of Grapsody. And so a big part of what's helped make that change has been the FitBod app. And part of what FitBod allows you to do is to stay on track when it comes to you. My experience with the FitBod app has been that it allows you to set goals. And personally for me, I had a goal of losing 30 pounds by my birthday. That was it. I had gotten to, I kid you not, I got to 222, and that was when I looked in the mirror and realized this is where it needed to change for me. And I decided when I wanted to do that by, and I said I wanted to do it by my birthday. And FitBod app allowed me to do that. It allowed me to keep track of my goals. It allowed me to it gives me the reminders to stay motivated. And one of the cool things was I actually got sick this past week. I've been sick. And of course, when I get sick, not able to work out, not able to hit the gym, anything along those lines. But with those days missed, it keeps track of these things and it adjusts your workout for you. And it adjusts and gives you the ability to, some say you can't necessarily make up in a workout, and you can't really do so. But what you can do is adjust your goals and adjust your workouts to continue to work toward the goals you want to do, and how the algorithm updates your fitness plan as you go. And you can add in your equipment. You pick a fitness goal and create a routine that works for you. Whether you've been missing gym time or if you hit a plateau, a fresh start has never been easier. The app switches up your experiences to avoid overtraining or burnout, and your program changes based on your personal progress for maximized results. You put in your results and exactly where you are with your weight goals, and you can continue to see the adjustments. A full year of FitBod is actually less than the cost of a single session with a personal trainer. You can join FitBod today and build a routine that grows with you. without slimming down your wallet. You can get 25% off your subscription or try the app free at our link in the description below, or just go to, as you can see on your screen, fitbod.me/Grapsody. Again, you can see it right there. That's fitbod.me/Grapsody. And again, I don't know if you've noticed, but like, I am legitimately down. I kid you not. I was so happy to see it today. I am down 20 pounds from this past summer.
That's crazy.
That is insanity. I mean, look, you can freaking see my neck again. Like it was.
That's cool too that you're able to get that in because you're always traveling and on the move. Like, you know what I mean? So it's hard to just be able to go to the gym all the time from wherever you're broadcasting from at the time, you know?
Like I will tell you a little bit of a sweet story that where this like truly began for me and where the app actually really became what I needed in my life. My daughter is in a digital photography class, and one of her assignments was a scavenger hunt, and you had to take pictures of various things, take pictures of a thing that's meaningful to you, take pictures of a thing like a toy, things like that. One of the things was take a picture of something that makes you smile. And my daughter said, I'm going to take a picture of Dad. And I thought, oh, damn, that like really spoke to me. That really hit the heartstrings. And she took a picture of me. And I looked at the picture and went, what the hell? How did I get here? How did I get here? It was like a full body picture. And I'm like, okay, it's time to make a change. I appreciate the sentiment, but like, I've got to change. I have to. I recognize that I am on a slippery slope. I'm 35. I may not be able to turn back, but I feel like I've turned back. Take a look at the shirt I'm wearing. This here, my friends, an extra large shirt that I've worn here on Grapsody that used to be fairly snug. This shit is loose as hell on me now. I'm actually having a great time. Again, fitbod.me/Grapsody.
I'll go get Fitbod, y'all.
Go get Fitbod.
/Grapsody.
/Grapsody. All right. Let's continue to read some more. And actually, no. We'll read toward the end. We got to talk about the big thing of the week.
What happened?
So, Extreme Rules was last week. Extreme Rules, pretty good show. I would say almost top to bottom, pretty good show. I thought that the 6-man match was excellent. That was my match of the night. And, you know, I hope that we are kind of moving on from these two sides and they find more to do on the other sides of things. I mean, well, hey, we got Rey Mysterio. He's about to face Gunther. So, like, things are going to happen.
What the hell happened on SmackDown last night that Rey Mysterio is now there? What the hell happened?
That Rey stuff was hilarious, by the way.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I mean, look, I said this in our group chat, and I think this is very funny. But Rey Mysterio went to Triple H to say, I'm being attacked by Judgment Day. I don't want to fight my son. I quit. And Hunter's like, well, here's a solution. How about we move you to SmackDown? And he's officially part of the SmackDown roster. That would be an excellent solution if on this same show I didn't see Raw's Omos show up. I didn't see Raw's Bailey in a match. And we haven't seen the Bloodlines, Solo Sikoa, Sami Zayn, literally wrestling on both shows.
Mm-hmm.
How does this stop Judgment Day from just being like, all right, let's go to SmackDown? And
I was going to say he could go hide in NXT, but Sonya Deville just showed up over there. Like, anybody could show up anywhere, you guys.
Yeah.
Like, you're not hiding from anybody.
yeah. Go hide in NXT so your son can go to NXT.
Yeah. No,
so, man, the funny thing about all of this is that, going to your boss and telling them that your son bullied you off of Raw is the funniest shit. I'm sorry. That is hilarious. Him winning the match and going, this is my new home, guys. I'm so happy. I'm like, fam.
My son keep punking me out, bro. I got to leave.
My son keep begging for this fight, yo. And then, so you do all of that, and you go and you now are number one contender for the Intercontinental title.
Your
like, what's
son,
wrong with you, man?
History has told us you're supposed to hand them the fade. Like, you're supposed to do this, and you're like, nah, I'd rather go fight Big Gunther. Let him chop.
And look, what happened in 8 years? 10 years, because I'm pretty sure when WWE 13 came out, he wanted to beat his son.
I'm about to go beat my kid's ass. Yep.
I can't wait to beat my kids. now that they're older.
Now you running from the grind, Ray Jr.? What's up?
Running from the grind.
Not for real, though. Extreme Rules, I thought, was a pretty solid pay-per-view. Again, I thought the Brawling Brutes in Imperium was very good. If you watched me on after the week, I did say Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan was like the worst thing of the week. And
that match was awful. God, that match was awful.
I stand by that. I wasn't a fan of Cross and Drew McIntyre really either. You were, Phil.
I wasn't a fan of it, but boy, did I die laughing for most of this match. Just stuff like Cross beating Drew down with the strap and Scarlett just running up to him, next to him, and just screaming, more! All of this stuff is like, who is it for, man? Like,
what's gonna get crossover? You think, Phil? Like, what is it?
I don't know, but
it's not working right now.
Winning because your wife pepper sprayed your opponent is not gonna get you.
That's not a good look. That's not a good look. No, it's not.
Everything about this was ridiculous. I laughed a lot at it. This was a dumb match, but very funny all around. Everything about it was funny to me. And it could be that I'm still laughing that man, Triple H is not going to give up on this Karrion Kross thing.
No, he's not.
It's very apparent he's going to keep pushing this until it works. And so,
this is his biggest, like, I'm forcing you guys to like my vision. This is his biggest one for sure.
The segment last night that made absolutely no sense of, hey, this guy got into a car accident. We have no, like, first of all, why is SmackDown filming the accident? Like, I have so many questions about this accident that were not answered. Like, how did he just randomly get into an accident? And so then we see Drew just run in and beat him up. Like, he clearly doesn't care that these two have gotten into a car accident. Like, what was that segment? What is this?
There's a lot going on over there.
I think what I called the best thing of last week, the ladder match, Bianca Belair versus Bayley, was my favorite thing.
We were all very surprised because we all picked Bayley last week to win this match.
Bianca was at home like, nah, shut up, Will and Phil. I saw y'all talking shit that I was gonna lose this match. Yeah, watch your mouth.
What's happening with Bianca? Who's gonna dethrone her?
I don't know, but Bianca used this match to remind us who she is. That somebody said, and I'm going to take this point, but then modify it a bit. But they said that she's the modern John Cena from the women's division. Except like good.
Hey yo,
and I mean that. And look, I mean that in the sense that look, I liked Cena, but I recognize Cena's limitations, and I don't think Bianca has any of the limitations that Cena had. I think
it's way different when it comes. Bianca works circles around Cena, later Cena at this point. She's tremendous, man. I think she's one of the. I don't want to say she's underrated because that sounds crazy, but I think what she's doing. I think it's going to be in 5 years. We're going to be like, yo, Bianca was. Y'all remember what Bianca like? She's on one of those runs where we just
she's on a really amazing
generational talent, man. She's insane.
Hey, and I do think the ladder match was the best match from the pay-per-view.
I think it was as well. I think it had the best story told. I think that Bayley had it believably won on multiple occasions. I said on After the Week last week that I felt she did boo-boo face her entrance a little bit. Like the way she was walking out, the way Bayley was walking out, I'm like, she don't look like somebody who...
You know who her best friend is.
I was like, I know, that was my thought was, oh no, is she picking up a little bit of Sasha stuff here? Because it feels like, I'm like, the way she's walking out does not look like somebody who thinks she's going to win, even thinks she has a chance.
Friend is.
And I think the performance in the match was great.
Yeah.
Like I said, there were some believable near finishes when she grabbed the braid and pulled it through the ladder, and I thought, oh, that's a good way to just now go grab the belt. Of course, the interference from Damage Control didn't really work out, and I have concerns about that because Bianca kind of laid waste to both of them and by herself. But we thought going into it, the story that they were telling was, look, Bianca just had her backup eliminated. It's now 3-on-1. Bianca just had Alexa Bliss wiped out. She just had Asuka wiped out. Some were asking, is she going to call upon Sasha Banks? Is she going to call upon Naomi? What's going to happen here? Nah, she laid waste to all three by herself. She literally did a double KOD to both. She didn't. She just proved I can handle Damage Control entirely on my own. And
that was a cool moment. I do have concerns.
It's a cool moment, but it's concerning for the future of Damage Control.
It was a
What
cool
is
moment.
the women's tag team championships? They are just exactly what Naomi and Sasha said. They're nothing, right?
But that's where I was going. It's just like, all right, but you just had two of your champions just get like obliterated on pay-per-view, and they didn't have a match.
Right.
It's just like,
still the same thing that they were talking about.
And I kind of
it's great for Bianca, but it's
Well, in that case, she is Cena because she's dominating everybody.
But like I said, I feel like it's like Cena booking with a better performer is what I'm saying by that.
Right.
I kind of feel like they're overexposing them too. Like, I just don't think it's good to have Damage Control on both shows if you don't have an overarching story with them. They're just appearing on both shows, and the segments are very repetitive.
They're doing the same thing on both shows.
Even the matches are starting to get repetitive. It's like if you're only seeing it on one show, it's not as noticeable. But when you have it on both shows, it's hard not to notice it.
Yeah. Well, so the other two things to talk about from the show, the I Quit match. I guess mileage is going to vary on this one because I was not a fan of the match. And that's not to say I wasn't a fan of the entire match, because one of the things I'm a believer in, as much as I just went on that whole rant about in-ring product and in-ring stuff, one thing I'm also a believer in is...
That Edge sucks.
No, it's not what I'm going to say. What I was going to say, Reginald, is that sometimes you just need to give what you got. That I think this match had an excellent 10 minutes worth of content. Like, really good 10 minutes. Like, that last 10 minutes of the match, excellent, like 5-star stuff. But I'm looking at the match time right now, and this shit went 30 minutes. 29 minutes and 55 seconds.
Eesh.
And I legitimately felt like 20 minutes of it was nothing.
Wasted.
Nothing was happening for 20 minutes. They were just literally like just throwing punches. But again, I thought that 10 minutes, excellent stuff. I thought that was some great storytelling. I loved what they were doing, the stuff with Ray, when Beth finally came in and the concerto spot. All of it, I was actually a big fan of.
I think that's been Edge's thing. His whole return is he should focus on less is more, because everything has just been a little too much, overproduced, a little much.
Long
every
Edge
single thing that he's
have been the worst thing about his return. The matches are too long. The matches are way overbooked.
If you only have 30, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think the good things about the match that I noticed is that Finn is just so much better as a heel. He's more confident. I think the way that he's introduced, all of these outside influences into his style, like the mask when he came out, like those are the things we loved about Finn in New Japan. Is that he'll find an innovative way to do something, a way to stand out and look different. He has a really good eye for style and, what is hip at the moment. And so I think all of that stuff is good. And I think they did the right thing. Finn needed the win here. I like the way they got to the win. The story was good, but this match was way too long. And I feel like that's been my issue with a lot of the Edge matches since he's been back.
I don't know why they thought this needed 30 minutes. This was not a 30-minute match.
Nah.
And if you don't have 30 minutes of content, don't run a 30-minute match. Like, just give people what you got and go with it.
Definitely cut that in half to 15 if that's what we're doing.
Edge Edge doing the over dramatic acting and stuff too was not really my cup of tea either. I feel like that was the stuff I didn't like about the early Judgment Day stuff. And I know people like the Orton feud, but that's some of the stuff I didn't like about the Orton feud too either. It was just too. It was just too much over.
Zoom in on Edge's face. He's serious right now.
The stuff I liked about the Orton feud, the funny thing is, the stuff I liked about the Orton feud was the promos and build-up. But the everlasting memory I have of that feud is them having a long-ass, boring match at WrestleMania.
That Backlash match was
the greatest wrestling match of all time.
That match was the longest experience. I was like, I can't. No.
Yeah.
But I do like, just like what Phil's saying, I think this has been a vehicle for Finn to really get back into what he is. I think he can eventually be in the main event scene. I think everything that Finn is doing is great, and I hope this leads to more. Just got to get Grape Street. Everything Finn's doing is Grape Street. We just got to get through this fucking intergender match or whatever they're gonna do, and hopefully Judgment Day moves all the way on from being around it.
Did they change Finn's theme again? I noticed that when he came out. Because his solo theme was different. It seems like it's more of a variation of his other theme, like his original theme.
Not sure.
No.
Fight Pit was like kind of unremarkable. I don't know why they brought in the hairdryer sound effects for Daniel Cormier's entrance, but like y'all don't have to do fake cheers. Like I guess they didn't trust that the crowd. Yeah, I guess they don't trust that the crowd knew who he was or knew enough about him, and that was probably true.
I thought they were gonna be done with that when Vince was gone, man.
No, they've been doing it. They did it. They've been using it again. Pretty much in total backstage segments. That's like all it is for backstage segments.
But they're selling out these shows, man. It's like it doesn't make any sense to me.
They're using it again for backstage segments, or maybe they never stopped. I don't know. But there was a lot of it on Raw, and they're using it a bit for damage control, which is also concerning. But the so yeah, I felt like that match was kind of unremarkable. I was kind of surprised because I like the Fight Pit as a concept. I was surprised that they just had Seth Rollins go in there and just like wrestle. I thought he was going to change the style up.
So this was, I feel like, the worst Seth Rollins pay-per-view match of the year. And I'm not saying that to say that it was a bad match. I think it was very underwhelming. And I think the reasons it was underwhelming is because of the build. It's just like, yo, you can't sell me on, all right, he beat this guy in Cardiff, and all right, now it's going into Riddle's domain. I figured that Riddle was going to dominate this match with his style of wrestling, and he kind of didn't. There was no real, like, story of Riddle working, you never got the idea, put it this way, in that match that, this is his kind of match, and he excels in this match. Like, you never got the idea of why he excels in this match, and I think that was the problem. Cormier never factored in. I didn't understand why he was even there, because I kept expecting for him to lose by, like, Cormier helping Riddle win. I thought that Seth was going to go too far with Cormier at some point, because that's kind of the reason you put, like, a fighter at a special guest referee spot. We've seen that in so many wrestling matches.
Just like with how Ken Shamrock originally came in the WrestleMania 13 match.
Mike Tyson, all of these guys that were special guest referees, they eventually beat up the heel and helped the babyface win. And that never happened. And so Rollins tapped here and lost clean. I was like, okay, he has a title match tomorrow. Why would you do that? Like, what are we doing? And so
they book like that, man.
So he loses clean. Then they completely just demolish Lashley by bringing Brock back for whatever reason, which I hated. And the way they did it made no sense. And then you have Rollins come out, and I knew the entire time that Brock was beating him down. I was like, this is how Rollins is going to win the title, isn't it? And so when Rollins came down, I was like, all right, let's just go ahead and get it over with.
But that they don't understand that takes away from Rollins.
I hated the way he won. And so the only thing I liked about it is that he's still doing the character stuff really well. I really liked the character moment of him saying, no, get back in here and fight me. And then he looked around for a minute and he saw that everything he was saying wasn't working. He was like, I thought you were a soldier. And I was like, that's great character work, because the guy doesn't think he's a heel. And so he was like, how do I get you to get back in this? I have to do the heel thing. All right, I'll do the wrestling thing. Oh, you're a soldier. I thought you get back in this ring. And it worked, and he won that way. that is a good touch. I thought everything else about it, his backstage segment after he won, all of that is great. Why the fuck are we going back to Riddle versus Rollins again Monday?
They're doing the match again?
Yes.
Why?
Because he just beat him at the pay-per-view. That's why I'm saying the way they booked this is ass backwards. So he beat him clean at the pay-per-view. So now it's like, oh, you're champion now. Well, I'll take
I'm
that.
first in line because I
I'm
beat
first
you
in
right
line
before you won the
I
belt.
just beat you a week ago.
God.
And it's just like, so now we're going back to that match again. It's just, I just don't like how they're booking Rollins at the moment. It doesn't make sense to me.
But the big thing to talk about, and we'll talk about it both sides, happened on SmackDown and Raw. Or not Raw, SmackDown
Extreme
and the pay-per-view.
Rules.
Extreme Rules. Was the show did give a satisfying conclusion to the people who were most looking for it. And that was everybody. Everybody in the building was ready for the return of Bray Wyatt. And they got it. They got an incredible moment. A moment that nobody was sure what to expect. But Bray's back. And he got a massive pop when he removed the mask.
Big pop.
Big pop. One thing I noticed, and I was really happy with when he removed the mask, is that just the way he was emoting, the way he was dressed, the way he looked. As soon as he removed the mask, I thought, it's a human. It is. He seems like a person.
Supernatural.
It doesn't seem like I have a supernatural being in front of me. I can sink my teeth into this. And then on SmackDown this week, I felt vindicated in that thought, in that, oh my God, we got our first taste of Bray Wyatt as a person in a promo. He got on the mic and he got personal with everybody. He talked about being fired, thought he lost his career, talked about losing friends. Obviously, we're talking, he did lose
Big Brody.
Yeah. Talked about losing friends, losing family, and how hard that was on him. But and seeing people in the public and them telling him, thank you, Bray. I thought this was excellent stuff. I thought it was the first time that I got to see a human version, a human side of Bray Wyatt.
Yeah,
awesome.
I think it's very interesting that you said you felt vindicated there, because I sat and watched the response to all of this. I sat and watched people sing Rollins' theme song 2 days in a row, and I felt very vindicated. And I was sitting there like I was right. But, of course.
Double
I also think
vindications.
I was right about the Bray thing as well, because I was like, yo, Bray is going to come back and smoke this. I knew that, I think the way that they handled all of the White Rabbit stuff was great. I thought that the payoff for it was great. I thought the small touch of them putting up the tag to make you think that the show was over. I don't know if I agree with the idea of putting Bray at the very end of the show, because I feel like it had a negative effect on the rest of the pay-per-view, because you had the audience waiting the entire show for Bray. And I think people got kind of tired of waiting for him at some point. And you can see it when people started trying to get the Wyatt chants going. Yeah, because there's a reason why putting Punk at the beginning of the show works, because that's what a lot of the fans came to see.
Exactly.
And so when you make them wait 3 hours for it, then, it's going to show. But I think, of course, Triple H bringing his NXT tricks to the main roster and putting the tag up and making you think the show is over and then cutting to the Bray stuff was good. But I thought everything they did the night of his return was fantastic. I thought the way that they played it out was bringing out all of the old versions of Bray was fantastic. Not having him come out and cut a long promo and just making that the selling point to keep watching the show. That's how you book pro wrestling. You give them just enough to go, all right, well, you got to tune in on Friday to see what he's going to say.
Yeah, I even had one slight concern with all the old versions of Bray, because they were going through obviously, in Firefly, because people were like, well, it wasn't old versions of Bray, it was Firefly Funhouse characters, but those were all old versions of Bray. Like Huskus is supposed to be Husky Harris. That is the character there, right? But they also had the melted mask on the the announce table. That gave me concern because I'm like, there goes more of that like supernatural shit I hate.
You're getting supernatural stuff. I hate to break that to you, but it's coming.
No, and that's the moment you lose me. Like I said, I have faith right now just in the fact that
especially since they hired his Rob Fee or whatever. It's about to be super
this guy pitched the entire Fiend movie.
But again, I don't mind psychological stuff. That stuff is fine by me. Like
more the Cape Fear thing that he was originally going for over the fucking.
Like I said, that stuff I don't mind. It's once you escape the idea of reality. Once he gets into like possessing people, then we have a problem. Then once we get into
him turning into a spider,
pulling people into swamps, now we have a problem. But again, so far okay. So far, I felt like he came out. He was very human. Then we got the cutoff and the interruption. Look, I can even take because some were like, is there like a schizophrenic thing going on here? Is it supposed to be like Green Goblin, where that was another one of Bray's personas talking directly to him kind of thing? Like we have a good Bray Wyatt, but then we have this other side of him that he can't seem to get a hold of. Look, even that's fine. I can live with that even because again, we haven't necessarily escaped the idea of reality. But even still, I liked all of this. I liked everything. I have no complaints. I'm not going to complain about anything I saw this week because I thought it was all good.
I sat and watched you, Denise, and Denise talk about this, and I chuckled to myself. I said, you guys really think this is the third best moment of the weekend? Come on, give Bray better credit than that. He deserved number one. What's wrong with you guys?
Because I gave it because I thought Bianca and Bayley was number one.
It was number one in my opinion, but yeah.
Hey,
but I still give it its mention. Look, Denise didn't even put it on her list.
That's why I was sitting there. I was like, what are you guys doing? You're not going to put it on your list. This guy puts it at 3. Come on. This is one of the best returns in memory.
Look, I'm triggered. Don't say lists out loud in numbers, please. I can't.
Look, first off, number 3 out of like 100 things that happened last week.
Yeah, but Bray was the thing everybody was talking about over the weekend.
Here y'all go with these lists and these numbers and this placement again. I'm getting triggered, you guys.
Look, I think it being on the list, like the top 3 is just supposed to be me saying these are the 3 best things of the week. Where they fall on the list doesn't really matter.
Were the other
but it was the thumbnail for your video. It was the
playing
thumbnail
Bray.
for your
You're
video,
playing
and you
Bray.
had it 3. Like
what's the
that meant I talked about it first. That's what that meant. Because we go 3, 2, 1. It was the first thing we talked about, and I still felt like Bianca and Bayley was the best thing. Like that's I still walked away from that feeling like I had just all these warm fuzzies about Bianca Belair. I walked away from that match going, look, Bianca Belair is it. I think she has the I tweeted as soon as that match was over. I said, I don't think there's a bigger NXT success story than Bianca Belair. I don't think there is. I don't see any.
Sasha Banks.
Charlotte.
I think the problem was Sasha Banks had a whole bunch of main roster woes, right? Like Bianca was just a straight up transition from NXT to the main roster. You didn't have to change a thing about her. You just continue doing what you're doing.
She's legit only had the SummerSlam misstep. Like that's the only thing that's happened that's anything bad
fair.
to her.
And that's why I feel like there's been nothing with Bianca where we've gone like, damn. Like,
and that wasn't on her, the SummerSlam thing. She was still badass. She just lost really quickly.
But I mean, when Sasha is the person that basically helped Bianca to get where she is, like her putting her over in that WrestleMania match is big because Sasha was already the one.
Sasha, where are you, girl?
I'm not denying any of that because I'm a big Sasha Banks fan as well. But I do recognize that like that first year of Sasha on the main roster, they were like, hey, guess what? She's going to win the title and then lose it on every single defense. And we're going to make sure that you see her as somebody who can't hang on to it, who can't get it.
It's honestly just funny that it's all women that have had the best NXT success story, like the men have.
I mean,
the men
you could say Rollins, Roman, I guess. Roman technically.
Kinda. That's a fine line, I'd say.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like Bianca, though, you can make the argument that they have had to do very little. Like, she just came into NXT, and when you think about who she was in NXT and who she is now, not a whole lot of difference.
Not a big difference.
Where she hasn't had to do a whole lot to adjust to the main roster because she was ready then, and that's what I mean by that is. She was just kind of a ready-made performer, and I think she is one of the biggest success stories. So no, I'm sorry. I came out of that match just feeling good and feeling like, gosh, Bianca is it. Bianca is the one. If there's anybody I finally ever see being the
one
face of a company that's also female, like remember when they put Becky Lynch on the cover of WWE 2K20 and celebrated it as the first woman who's ever been on the cover, but they also put Roman on the cover. And it's like you couldn't even give it fully to Becky. You had to make sure Roman was also there. It should have been just Becky. I feel like you can do that with Bianca and not have anybody else there, and it'd be okay. I think she is the one.
I'm of course giving you a hard time because I know you're not a Bray guy, but I did think that was very funny that he was the thumbnail, and then I tune in and I'm like 3.
Hey, speaking of returns, before we get all the way out of here, we don't
have to get all the way out of here. We're
gonna some of the homies returned on Monday back in the game. We talked about Finn a little bit, and some of his homeboys came back off of getting that big contract.
BizCliz is back in the building, man.
That looks pretty hot. That was a great angle. The thing with AJ, like everything about that was what we've wanted for a long time, I think. And so to see it executed is pretty dope.
Yeah. No, I like the Good Brothers. I know people are very divisive when it comes to them, but I think they're great, and I like them with AJ. I think that they're a good trio together. Every time I think of AJ, I think of beat up John Cena and them terrorizing this man for a good amount of that time on SmackDown Live.
Hey, real quick, they're talking in the chat about NXT success stories and talking about. I see Asuka being named. I agree that Asuka was an NXT success story in NXT, but when I say NXT success stories, I specifically am talking about the graduation from NXT. I'm specifically talking about as in you came out of NXT and in a succession line are still having a successful run out of having a successful run in NXT. I know people.
It feels like Asuka was hotter in NXT than she's ever been on the main roster.
There shouldn't be any regression in that time. You should never be able to look back at NXT and say that was the best time of somebody's career because that's a very bad thing if that's the case. Because
I mean, you could also say that they never let Bianca win the big win in NXT, so it always felt like a step up because they never gave her the big win.
But I always thought that was a good thing because I did. So I thought about it in the sense of because I thought at the time I always saw Bianca being a main roster star, and I love that for her story. I still feel there's very few people in the history of pro wrestling period who could say their first ever championship was in the main event of WrestleMania, and she doesn't get that. Like it becomes the asterisk if you add in the NXT title. I love that she can say, I came in, won the Royal Rumble, and became in the main event of WrestleMania. And one of the best WrestleMania matches ever at that. One of the best, certainly on the women's side.
Facts.
And she won the title. Like, I don't know. I feel like the NXT women's title kind of dilutes that a little bit because
she's cool, man. Give her the rocket. Put her on the cover of the next video game. She's the one.
I mean, I get what you mean. I think it worked out in the long run, but I do think that they stalled several times with her when they should have pulled the trigger. And I didn't agree with it then. There were several times where the win was right there, and they just went out of their way to not give it to her. And it is what it is. I don't want to go back.
Yeah, we don't have to dwell on that.
over criticizing her NXT run.
But I do. But really quick because we kind of got off topic before we get into the Good Brothers, and we will talk about more Good Brothers. I do want to talk about Bray a little bit more, and that I think them cutting his promo off because I was looking at the clock and I'm like, is he running long? What the fuck is going on here? Because SmackDown cannot have an overrun. This is network television. You don't get that.
They cut out 2 minutes before, actually. They don't even
Well,
go
they
all
usually
the way
do.
to the end.
Yeah, it usually ends about 2 minutes early. And so that's what I was looking at. I'm like, this ain't running until the top of the hour because the affiliates have to take their feedback. What's happening here? And he's like mid-sentence, and all of a sudden he gets cut off by the what is the name supposed to be? My brain keeps going to Uncle Luke, and that is not the name that it's gonna have.
Two Live Crew, what's going on here?
Oh, the name for his mask?
Yeah,
The Uncle Howdy?
Uncle Howdy. That was it.
Uncle Luke.
Come on in, right through.
That's where my brain was going. I was like, Captain, come, but nah. That was
Hilarious.
Sorry, my bad. Uncle Howdy, thank you, chat.
Yeah, you know how funny that would have been if he's cutting this heartfelt promo, and then all of a sudden you get like all this static, and then all of it.
Now I want to see that Bray Wyatt character.
That would be hilarious.
Oh, okay. So they said in the chat, they were like, they trademarked Uncle Harper as well. That is probably why you thought of that, Will. That's exactly
Gotcha.
why I thought of it. They trademarked Uncle Harper.
Luke,
so my brain
Uncle Luke Harper. Yeah,
Luke
gotcha.
Harper. My brain went to Luke, the uncle.
Right. Okay. I see it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
my
but the Bray stuff has been tremendous so far, man. I think that man, this guy, I feel vindicated because a part of what I was saying a few weeks ago when we talked about Bray, and I was like, no, nobody's cutting promos like Bray. Bray is one of the best promo guys of this generation. And so I knew when you let this guy talk, that's the appeal. It's just like when you bring Bryan in, the first thing you want to see Bryan do is wrestle because that's what he does. That's what he's good at. And so, no, you give Bray a mic, he's going to kill it. And
What's interesting, though, is that this is a different because he is a good talker. I don't know if I would have given him mic worker per se because his career hasn't really called for a lot of that in the sense of working a crowd and working in
Most
an
of it's
emotion,
pre-tapes and stuff.
right? And working an emotional type promo, which is why this was different. This was so not like we've seen Bray before.
That Miss Teacher promo, I just posted it like a few days ago where he gave the whole impassioned of, my teacher. Nah, man, I think y'all got Bray fucked up, man. I think y'all got Bray a little fucked up. But Bray, man, I knew he was going to come out and cut a good promo, but he did so many smart things in this promo. I know people are like, they took it as just the surface matter of him saying, oh, I've lost my confidence. I lost all these things. But he managed to sneak a little bit of character stuff in there that I think people missed when he said, no, Bray, you got me back into this. And he was going in, and I was sitting looking at the TV, and I was like, I know what he's doing. I see the vision. Him basically setting it up to make it seem like he was giving fans, he was talking directly to the fans. But no, he's doing what he always does. He's saying that, come with me. I am the actor. I'm the light. I am the guy. Join me. Let me in. He was basically saying that all in so many words, but he did it in a way that just got you to believe this time. And I thought it was very good. I thought it was very well done. I thought the way they cut it off was perfect. I know some people are going to trash on it being cut off and make it seem like it wasn't intentional. It was very clearly intentional.
Yeah, how was it? I hope nobody said that because this all went off intentionally. One thing I also want to give props to. And this is going to be one of my continuing to knock our friends Def Rebel because they stink. But
I agree.
I loved this theme song so much that it was nice to have
His Linkin Park theme.
Yes, but it was nice to have an entrance theme that felt like actual music because that's
Code Orange, right?
Yeah, that's all I ask for. I just want music to sound like something that the actual wrestler would listen to. That's one thing I'll steal from Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho once said that he believes the true mark of a good theme song is that you believe the wrestler would listen to it in their spare time, that you believe that it's something that the wrestler enjoys. And
that's not even true for specifically Chris Jericho. He had that WWE song for so long, and I don't think Break the Walls. I don't think Chris Jericho would be listening to that in his car.
He said he did, though. He actually said he used to listen.
Fucking
to
liar!
That's
That's like Cap. Your band's name's fucking Fozzy, bro. Come on.
But you hear him. But
yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I truly believe that, right? because like when Steve Austin had his theme being composed, he was like he wanted something that sounded a little bit Rage Against the Machine-y, and he specifically picked a specific song that he sat down with Jim Johnston to craft because he wanted it to sound like that. So the thing I always have an issue with is when a song doesn't sound like shit the wrestlers will listen to. And Def Rebel has pretty much been putting out nothing but like
That
stuff that I know the wrestlers ain't listening to. Sami Zayn ain't walking around listening to damn
So trash.
yes, no.
I will say one of the few Def Rebel themes that I like, and that's why I'm glad. Part of the reason I'm glad the Good Brothers are back is the OC theme. I like their theme a lot.
Okay.
Which they didn't even use it this time. They used something different from the Good Brothers, which I don't know.
Yeah, it's in the chat, but that man's got Judas set as his ringtone.
That's what I'm saying. Definitely.
He definitely does.
This
So
is
like,
on.
but like I said, this felt, listening to Bray's entrance, like real music. It felt like something people would listen to. It felt like something Bray would listen to. And I came away from that going, this feels like entrance music. Because when I watch UFC entrances, when I watch boxing entrances, that's the thing I love most, is that I hear from people. I mean, I'm hearing their personality come out because I feel like it's something that speaks to them. And even when it's original music, it just needs to sound like something that they would. And I felt like I got that from
Bray's new shit.
From Bray. It sounded good. It sounded great. I loved it. So
yeah, Devil Kazooie. I'm not talking about the original Good Brother. I'm talking about the OC theme. The "We're Coming for You." That's a Def Rebel thing.
Yeah. So it's
Shout out to
like I
Bray. He
said,
got
I
his
like
job
it.
back, man. I'm
he
happy
got his
for
job
him.
back. No, I was happy for Bray. I was
Happy for
happy
Bray,
for
man.
so
Bray
far, I'm
and
happy with
Braun getting
everything.
released were like the biggest surprises. I thought they would be in WWE for
Yeah.
a long time. So I'm not surprised that both of them are back.
Yeah, releasing Bray was a mistake. I'll just go ahead and say it. I think that it was a big mistake. And I thought everything he said in the promo hit because man, I missed Bray. I think that Bray adds something to wrestling that isn't there. And I know people are going to do I hate spooky gimmicks, and you have other people doing terrible spooky stuff like Joe Gacy or whatever the fuck that Viking Raiders promo was that looked bad. No, I just think that he adds something that is just not there.
He does.
For whatever you don't like about spooky gimmicks, nobody does spooky, and nobody does this presentation and spectacle like Bray does. And again, nobody cuts promos like this guy. So
Spooky. And
Like,
they brought him back in
it's
October.
not that I hate. And once again, it's not that I hate spooky gimmicks, because I actually don't hate spooky gimmicks. Again, I hate supernatural, and that is, I think, you can do spooky without defying the laws of life.
Reality. Yeah.
I mean,
Like you can do spooky up until the point of where Bray is literally burned to a crisp.
Right.
Like then we reach an issue where like, no, he's fucking dead. Like this is, now we have a fucking problem here. You actually like literally within the context of the show burned a human body and nobody extinguished it. And you just let him like fucking
Nobody
melt.
called the cops or none. Randy Orton just murdered somebody, like a murder beef, right on camera. We all watched it. So,
I like scary in wrestling, but again, it's the same way where I like horror films when it's psychological, not so much supernatural.
gotcha.
Unless it's established within that universe already. Like, okay, I obviously like Friday the 13th movies, or Friday the 13th. Did I say Friday the 13th? Those are a little more realistic. I more so meant to say that, or I guess not, those aren't really either. Since Jason is also dead.
we see
but-
this man go to space at this point.
I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I know. At some point, we need to go to space. But like I said, if it's established within that universe, but at the same time, like I said, I do like just the
It could work.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like more thrillers. I like more psychological thrillers and things like that.
Right.
And I think you can do that here.
Yeah, I mean,
I was going with Nightmare on Elm Street, though. By the way, that was where I was going. And
wait, in what way that it had its own defined logic?
yeah, that it's
Okay.
defined within the series that, okay, obviously Freddy Krueger gets into your nightmares.
Right.
And so, like, we know this, it's established. We don't have any other media here where, like, nobody else. Either way, It's not a bigger universe. That's all.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's why I tweeted also that I don't know, man. I think we get so sucked into, oh man, in ring, 5-star matches, all this stuff. Realism, everything had to be realism. Man, sometimes bad wrestling is good. I tweeted that, but I 100% believe that. That sometimes bad wrestling is memorable enough.
It depends on your definition of bad.
That's what I'm saying. Of course, I'm not saying we all want to see bad matches, but I do think that there's a lot of stuff that we love as wrestling fans that isn't good.
I'm glad we got to that with Bray Wyatt. I was hoping we get here. That Bray Wyatt's a bad wrestler. That's a great way to end.
Here we go.
Because we're gonna everything that you're saying, I'm all in. I like it, you guys. But then he's gonna have a match with somebody, and it's gonna be awful.
I don't think he's a bad wrestler though. Like I don't know.
Well, again, they have to be smart about this, right? Somebody asked me on Twitter today. They asked if I thought Bray was going to be positioned as a babyface or a heel. I said Hunter would be as dumb as Vince was if he positions Bray as a heel again, because it's very clear, especially now that the fans had to be away from him for a year and a half, that the fans do not want to boo Bray Wyatt. If you position him as a heel, you're going to damage any babyface you put against him. Do not position this man as a heel.
Anybody that the fans miss, you don't want to make them a heel because they missed him and they want to cheer him now that they're back. Like the guy was saying earlier in the super chat about MJF, or people have been talking about MJF. It's like people missed MJF, so he's not going to be a heel. He's still a heel, but people aren't going to treat him like a heel. No one's going to treat Bray Wyatt like a heel no matter what you do, because they missed him and they wanted him back.
And there's no babyface in WWE today strong enough to withstand that. Right. Any face you put in there with him is going to get slaughtered.
That's what happened with Rollins. It was a mistake.
You can't do that. And they, again, Vince made that mistake. Vince continually positioned Bray as a heel. It even felt like coming out of WrestleMania, what was that, 32? It felt like Bray was supposed to be a babyface, and then he got hurt. And then when they brought him back, they were just like, he's a heel again. And it was like, but you were like starting to turn it. Like, remember they tagged him with Roman, and the fans were all into it, and they cheered. And then he got hurt after that, so they kept him off TV. But that was the first sign that the fans wanted to cheer Bray. And the only ever time the fans were like allowed to cheer Bray Wyatt was teaming him with Matt Hardy. Other than that, they never really gave the fans.
That was a weird run.
They never really gave Bray the ability to just be the thing that the fans like against other heels. Like, that's all he's ever needed to be. Against other heels. That's really it. And I don't know what heel you put him against. Like right now, I think feed him Baron Corbin for now. I think that's a good one to start with. Who the fuck knows?
Didn't he pull off with JBL a few weeks ago and we never saw him again?
Yikes. The one thing that I did think while I was watching his return at Extreme Rules, I was like, man, it would have been cool if they just went ahead and licensed White Rabbit and let White Rabbit play the entire time before he came out. I think that would have been really cool. I understand why they didn't. That is, of course, a money thing, but that would have been cool because it would have been a payoff of them doing White Rabbit in the arena all that time. But
especially when you consider that, like, Dynamite this week ends with Jefferson Starship playing, and then we got Jefferson Airplane on the other show, and it's like, you know what?
Yeah,
they're just in general doing great today in pro wrestling.
Yeah, but no, I don't agree that Bray is a bad wrestler. I think that
I think it's subjective. I think it is just a matter of taste. I think it's
subjective.
I don't think he's a bad wrestler. I just think his matches don't hit, and they never will.
I don't even agree with that. I just don't think that. I don't think you could just sum up his entire career and just say he's a bad wrestler.
I think you can.
I just don't
he has the resume to back it up.
I think he's had good matches. That's why I'm like, I don't agree with that. I just think that everybody has made this big to do for a long time of going, he's a good promo guy, but when the bell rings, then he's not that good. And I feel like that's been the knock on him for the longest, but I just feel like it's kind of overstated at this point.
He hasn't done anything to change my mind. I'll just keep it at that. That's it. Like, I've seen him be bad, and I haven't seen him be good when the bell rings. That's it. If you could change my mind tomorrow, he could have a match, and I'd be like, all right, but he just hasn't done it. That's it. I think he's an amazing character. I think as WWE, I think there's like a group of WWE superstars that are forever. The Miz, Braun Strowman, like he's that. He's WWE. Great. Everything about it is amazing. I just don't want to see any of that shit.
I think he's gonna go down as one of the best characters in the history of the company.
Most
I
definitely.
don't think that's
he's going to get a Hall of Fame award, all of that. But yeah, that's it.
But yeah, talking about the Good Brothers, I thought it was a good return for them. Obviously, there's questions specifically about the Never Openweight Championship
And the
that
Tokyo
Carl Anderson
Dome.
still holds.
Nah, Bright Lights Machine Gun. He goes where the lights are, man.
That's what's up.
Bright lights are on in WWE, so that's where he is.
He just has the belt of the New Japan belt. That's mine. Whatever. No big deal.
Yeah. Happy to see them all back together. It's a cool thing. You know, I mentioned on the Raw post show on Fightful this week that obviously I'll always have concerns over the fact that, man, we keep coming back to Bullet Club for them.
Yeah.
And it is fascinating that they have, whether it was, and I'm not just talking about WWE, but that has been it for WWE. Anywhere they go, they haven't seemed to be able to, like, that specific run of theirs was just like 2 years. And everything since then has kind of been a callback or reference to that run for them. And I just think that's really interesting that whether it's showing up in AEW, doing a callback to that run, or everything they've done in WWE has been a callback to that run. But this is still the right place for it to be.
Definitely.
Judgment Day was formed off of AJ Styles. And so at the end of the day, it should pay off with AJ Styles having his group to back him up to take them down. It's not happening at Crown Jewel, of course, because Crown Jewel is the same day as the defense that Carl Anderson has set. So,
And I mean, if you remember as well, Carl made it clear he don't want to go back to Saudi Arabia.
But at the same time, he wants. But he said unless he wants that second pool, and I don't know.
We'll give you that second pool. That's a
Second
fact.
pool sounds kind of nice, man.
It does.
Two
I'm not
pools.
mad at it.
You know, you can die from one to the other like that.
You think
That's what I would do. I would layer
they're not
some
trying to
pools.
get the 6-man over there get them a 6-man in Saudi Arabia?
Of course they are, but I do think it's funny that he came back right before the Saudi Arabia.
That is hilarious.
And he made it clear several points he did not want to go back to Saudi Arabia.
And he's coming back for the build up to Saudi Arabia.
That's really, really funny. But no, I'm happy to see them back. I knew that AJ was very upset about the way they left the company. And so I think this is a good way to bring them back. I think that the way that they're handling Finn versus AJ is very good because we've been waiting forever for them to just do the Finn AJ match.
Yep.
And I mean, of course, we got the TLC match, but we've never got like an extended feud out of them. And I think they've been dragging their feet on this for the longest. So I think this is a good way to do it.
And hey, that match was like one of my favorite matches that year. In 2017, and
it wasn't supposed to happen.
And it wasn't supposed to happen. It happened on such short notice. They didn't have time to go over anything. It was one of those. They just went out there. They got their time. They said do their shit.
It's just like they're just two veterans that just are great at wrestling, so the match is going to be good. But
who had
it could be way
never
better.
Wrestled each other. That shit was amazing. And yeah, so
the matches are going to be amazing.
That was a cool moment. And Brock is back. I have concerns.
Obviously. I hate when they say Brock is back because does he leave? He's back more often than he's gone at this point.
Like we knew he's on the poster for Crown Jewel and has been the entire time. And so we always knew he was coming. It was just who was he going to face?
He's coming to get a Saudi check.
Yeah, and my brain was like, the poster still has Roman and Brock on it, and I'm like, oh my God, if they find another way back here.
If they would have ran it back, Will, that would have been sick.
I'd have been done. I would have just flipped everything over.
But yeah, I like the match. I like Brock and Lashley again. Lashley has for a long time wanted this match. He got a little bit of taste of it, but what they did on Monday was like the worst way to get to it. But I do like the match for Bobby Lashley because he's
several people tweeted me that listened to Grapsody last week that when I was like, they wouldn't do this to Rollins. They wouldn't do this to somebody like Brock. They wouldn't move him down to the middle card, and they wouldn't put the U.S. title on him. And the first thing that they do when Brock comes back, we got to get the title off of Bobby so that that's not in the middle of the feud.
You can't be associated with that.
We don't want you associated with this mid-card title.
I saw that because I saw people having the idea of like because there were all these questions on Twitter. Who is Brock going to be facing? Is it going to be, it could be Bobby. It could be, I don't think they'll do Roman again because literally they advertised SummerSlam as the final chapter. But
That's never stopped him before.
I know it hasn't. But so there are all these questions of who he could face, and like, are they going to bring somebody back? What's it going to be? And like the number one answer people were coming up with was Bobby Lashley. And I saw people going, well, yeah, I could see Brock fighting for the United States title. No, you can't. You absolutely can't. And there's two reasons you can't. No, you cannot. And it wasn't going to happen. There's two reasons it's not going to happen. Because one, Brock is going to win this match, and he's not going to win the United States title.
No.
No.
And two,
God damn it.
as a matter of fact, those were it. That's it.
That's it.
Brock's
That's all.
not winning. Brock's not winning that title, and he is winning this match. So therefore, those two things cannot be.
This is why I hate it so much. And I saw so many people when I was like, yeah, I just don't like this. And people were like, but why? And I just didn't answer a lot of people that asked me that on Twitter because I just hate the idea that every time this guy comes back, you have to derail all of your storylines that you're doing, and you got to change everything to appease this guy. I just hate it. And so I just feel like bringing him in, and you have been on this trajectory with Bobby since he came back, and that he has been dominant. He has been beating people. He has been really, I feel like, the best babyface outside of Bianca on Raw.
Definitely.
And I feel like the thing that you would do with him if you had a world title on this show is that you'd be building him to the world title match. He didn't lose. He did not lose his title at Elimination Chamber. He never lost. And so instead of building him to that, no, you have Brock come out and just beat him down again. It's like, and I just don't believe that they're building this to this triumphant moment for Bobby. If I believed that, then maybe I would be optimistic, but I just don't believe that. I feel like this is going to be possibly a better match than their Royal Rumble match. This will be what Bobby wanted, because Bobby has always wanted the match with Lesnar. But I feel like he's gonna lose.
He's gonna lose.
I'd just like to ask a couple of questions. So we were there, Royal Rumble. I have not watched that since because that was the stinkiest pay-per-view I've ever attended. But
it sucked. So much so that I've been thinking about going next year, and I've been just like, I just have PTSD at this point. It's like that flaming sign and everything.
It was weird over there.
Brock versus Bobby. This is a fairly unremarkable match. Yeah. But the match did see Bobby Lashley win. But how did it see Bobby Lashley win? It saw Roman Reigns come in, Paul Heyman turn on Brock, hand Roman the belts. He clocks Brock over the head with the belts. Bobby basically does it without any of Bobby's moves getting the victory. Brock is pinned by Bobby after getting bashed in the head with belts by Roman. And Brock still came back at the end of the night and won the Royal Rumble. Yes. So, like, even in defeat, they were never willing to have Bobby Lashley look.
Brock is always going to come out on top, buddy.
Brock came out on top still.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, look.
Hold on. I was going somewhere with this. The following month was in Saudi Arabia, Elimination Chamber. Bobby was supposed to lose to Brock here. And obviously, there was a Bobby Lashley injury. Bobby couldn't do the match. But Brock was always going to get his win back over Bobby Lashley in Saudi Arabia. This is that moment. Because he didn't get it at Elimination Chamber. We just kicked it down the road to Crown Jewel. Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. He's going to get that victory back.
Coming for it.
Yep. I just feel like it just kills all the momentum that Bobby had this year. I just don't agree with it. Now, I know people are going to be like, but Phil, don't you want Rollins to be champion? I do want Rollins to be champion, but not like this. And I don't and I don't want to make it seem like being a mid-card champion is a demotion, but I just feel like with everything he's done for the last year, I feel like he deserves better. And I mean, I think he's going to kill it with this. I think he's going to come out and he's going to make jokes, and he's going to probably show up wearing some ridiculous flag-themed outfit on Monday. It's going to be funny. We're all going to laugh. But I just don't feel like this is going anywhere. Like, where did the end go? Like, And I mean, again, he's gonna do great with this because he always does. They always give him, scraps, and he runs with it. That's how Monday Night Rollins happened. But I have no optimism about how they're booking Rollins at the moment.
Well, let's close out with some viewer feedback, and let's read pretty much all of the super chats we've needed to read throughout the show. Van Twin Blade says, according to Brennan Lee Mulligan, Method Man was a ranking member of the monastery of Concrete Fist, which hovers about a mile over a bakery in Staten Island. Watch Dimension 20 on Sleeping City. We also have Christopher says, either get ROH TV deal or get ROH off AEW TV.
Yeah, I don't think it's that simple. I think you gotta build to it.
Yep.
I mean, in order for there to be interest in the TV deal, you
have to have them on TV.
You got to have storylines and stuff.
Right.
So it's hard. It's hard to juggle both.
Exactly.
Let's see. We have another one that says, this is one from Swiss Roll Chris. Says, what if they turn Rampage into their ROH? Their shows were only an hour anyway. Actually, this week's Rampage really felt like ROH kind of all around, especially with the Kingdom debuting at the end and like all of that. That was the thought I was having, was maybe that's where this is going.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't be mad at ROH show on Friday, an hour long.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Brent says, so they were selling Canadian BTE merchandise this week. Can we take this as a good sign or stuff they needed to sell? I think that was stuff that was already made. But there was a willingness to at least address some elephants in the room, such as the Hangman and
Hangman's promo.
What a fantastic promo this week.
Yep.
Hangman. You know what's funny? For me being such an in-ring guy, watch After the Week tomorrow. I've already completed my list. None of the stuff on my list this week happened in the ring. As far as wrestling was concerned, it happened bell to bell. All three of my top three things were moments, not bell to bell. So
moments like this.
Either way. But I was just saying they had a willingness to reference things. I mentioned this week Brandon Cutler has been like fully elited out. He's been wearing the Young Bucks shoes on Dark Elevation this week, and he's coming out. He's fully elite.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's a good sign that they were mentioning more Punk and Buck stuff on TV this week. I mean, that mock shot at Punk was very obvious. And, of course, the references to the Bucks were obvious as well. I thought the Hangman promo was very, very good.
Tremendous.
I think one of the things that I don't like about this year with AEW is that people have just glossed over how good Hangman is. And I think that his reign has kind of been forgotten by some fans, and I think his reign was really good. He had some banger matches, and I still think that he's one of the most relatable wrestling characters of this era.
Definitely. Is everything okay?
Did you see Stokely's post? His AEW entrance exam that he gave to Matt Hardy? We need to answer these questions. We have to. Hold on. It says, Matthew, now that I have your contract, this is due by October 18th before you enter the building for AEW Dynamite. A 7 out of 10 is mandatory or I will be on your ass like white on rice. Number 1, Birdman on the 2000 Classic #1 Stunner said he was going to fuck him in the ass while Lil Wayne, A, delivered the bond or diversified his bonds, B, beat up the pussy, or C, joined Death Row. Question number 2. Bruh Man on Martin is from the A, 5th floor, B, 1st floor, or C, basement. Number 3. Nas hit Jay-Z with A, chloroform, B, ether, or C, the blood of Christ. Number 4. What does it mean to wish a motherfucker would? A, request help, B, welcome a confrontation, or C, request a retweet. Number 5, finish the lyrics. We are living blank. A, together.
Blank.
B, apart. Says A, together. B, apart. Or C, single. Number 6, Stokely Hathaway was a personal trainer to which professional wrestler? A, Stevie Ray. B, Kenny Omega. Or C, Monty Brown. Number 7, what type of jeans does Eddie Kingston prefer? A, skinny. B, bootcut. Or C, straight. Number 8, Keenan Ivory Wayans was the star of which 1994 blockbuster hit? Is it A, Shaft, B, A Low Down Dirty Shame, or C, I Got the Hookup? Number 9, Here It Goes, was said by A, Kel Mitchell, B, Father James Mitchell, or C, Keith Lee.
These are not questions for black people because they're too easy.
Exactly.
And number 10, are you invited to the cookout? A, no. B, no. Or C, no.
That's the correct one. Number 10. Yes. 3 no's. What a guy. What an asset.
Stokely's
Stokely
amazing.
is so funny.
Tremendous.
Stokely is amazing.
Oh my God. Stokely's so good.
Yeah.
Stokely, the invite is truly open. Come on.
Yeah, no, we want Stokely on the show.
Yeah,
for
we
reals,
want
man.
Stokely. Let's see. We've got did I read this one already? Oh no, it's just the same one. We've heard this a lot. Can we please get ROH off AEW TV?
You read that one already.
No, that's a different one.
That's a different one.
Somebody else is complaining about it.
Yeah. Mac asks, what are the odds of Nigel McGuinness turning up in AEW? I can
I
actually
think
see
they're
that.
pretty high. Yeah, pretty high.
I can see that.
Yeah, I think that he would
Even if he
work a
doesn't
lot.
wrestle, I could see him having been a former champion confronting Jericho.
Right.
Yeah,
Maybe
or-
having somebody represent him.
Yeah, being on guest commentary for Ring of Honor stuff.
Yes,
Something. I can see
exactly.
that.
Yeah. Brent says best recent example I can think of is Best Friends versus Miro and Kip. That match wiped out and made up for how bad the story was. Again, that a great match can make up for a bad story better than a bad match can.
I mean, that's what's happening with Nyla and Jade at the moment. This stuff is amazing because Nyla is amazing. I don't think this would be nearly as funny if Nyla wasn't amazing on Twitter.
No other wrestler could do this title stealing thing and make it work like Nyla does, for sure. She's amazing.
Jennifer says y'all need to read the comic Do a Powerbomb. It is phenomenal. Okay.
Do a power
I don't know what that is.
Please give me more information, Jennifer. I would appreciate that. Brent also says the people who you listed have keyed bad faith and tribalism to a business model. That's very true as well. That's the other thing that, as far as listed there is concerned. Like you look at stuff Jim Cornette likes versus stuff Jim Cornette hates, and the viewership on hates is way higher. He knows where his bread is buttered. Shame Monster says, is Cargill a face going forward? I thought it was Nyla turning it first. No, she's the face. Also, re-listen to ATCQ's Midnight Marauders today. Still so good.
It's a great album. One of the best Tribe Called Quest albums there is. One of the best hip hop albums of all time.
Yeah, one of the best hip hop albums of all time.
Jay.
Neither of them are faces.
Yeah,
They're both
I think there's we're just supposed to like Nyla because she's funny, but she's still a heel. And Jade is gonna be a heel for a while. I don't think they're gonna make a full change for a minute.
Yep.
Let's see. We've got Chi-Town Spurs says the woman who has elevated herself the most in the Triple H era is Rhea, and she doesn't even wrestle at the moment. I expected more.
I think they dropped the ball with Rhea hard, especially after. Well, not even after.
Oh, Vince
at
did not know what to do
WrestleMania.
with Rhea. Yeah.
I think they screwed her up by having her lose that match to Charlotte, and I mean, I think she's had good moments since then, but she's never quite hit the peak that she was at that time.
Right.
Kieran George says WWE feels complete with Bray returning. Never should have been cut to begin with. I've always said he could have be the Randy Orton to Roman Reigns' John Cena of this era. By the way, Bray's a good wrestler. Reg, LOL.
You just said a bunch of ew in there, Kieran. A bunch of shit that's nasty.
Nah,
Now, I'll
seen
say
some
this.
facts in there, bro.
Talking about the idea that WWE feels complete right now. So one of the things I am interested in, because one of the things that Hunter has been doing in this run is bringing a lot of people back. That is his game plan. He brings back people that, especially people he was familiar with the booking of, because he was booking them when he was booking Karrion Kross. He was the one booking Dexter Lumis. He was the one booking Dakota Kai, and so on. I said all that to say that the one thing that hasn't been done yet in this whole run is introducing somebody new. I am curious what that's going to be like. Like, there was talk that, and I asked about this, and they weren't really sure where that even came from, specifically Matt Taven. But there was talk that Matt Taven was the one sought after by WWE. And
So there was no truth to that rumor that was going around.
it's not that there's no truth to it, because the very rumor could have just been that a writer could have said, or Booker, I mean, somebody
could have been like, we're interested in Matt Taven.
Yeah, right. But specifically, as far, and that part could very well be true, but as far as Matt Taven himself having like any extensive discussions with WWE, at least not any different than he did with AEW. Like, he was just for him to be specifically cited was what I was told was a little odd. But again, that's an interesting thing, right? Because he hasn't been in WWE. And so the one thing we haven't seen from Hunter is a debut that is somebody entering the ecosystem for the first time. And I'm curious what that's going to be like. Because it's bound to happen. We're eventually going to start seeing people at the top level start jumping ship. And I'm very curious what that's going to look like.
Yeah, somebody that's not a return.
Somebody that's not
that's just a brand new debut. I think that's a while off. I don't think we'll see that for a while, because I think he's burning through the Rolodex on all these guys he's calling back. Like, so I don't know. I do think. I was just gonna say, I do think that the programming does feel better. It's in a better place than it had been. But I am a little concerned that it just feels like you're just like filling up the party, but you don't really have any plans on what to do. It's like, get everybody here, but what's the plan?
Yeah, and that's a big criticism people have for Tony, and we're kind of starting to see that on the other end. Good example is Hit Row. And they kind of got squashed by Legado del Fantasma yesterday. That match went 1:22, and it was and you know,
them clean, buddy.
Shit.
And not only did they beat him clean, if you are somebody who follows WWE canonically from NXT on, and you saw that Legado del Fantasma, who would you say has been their biggest rival? I guess maybe not their biggest rival, but let's go the other direction. Who was Hit Row's biggest rival?
Legado del Fantasma. Legado.
Yes. So they were able to hang with each other when they had Swerve. And I feel like you just told the audience that this group that had gone toe-to-toe with this other group all through NXT, now all of a sudden gets squashed by them in 1:22. What's the only difference between then and now? You just told the audience they are not as good without Swerve. You just told them that.
Yes. Right on camera, right on your show with your 1.5-minute wrestling match.
I still think also one of the big things Triple H hasn't fixed is tag team wrestling, and I think that's still
can't figure it out.
That's still a problem. I still don't think that tag team wrestling is being highlighted very well. I don't think that there are any real feuds for those titles. It seems like they're now trying to push the New Day into protecting their record. That's a good story, but that's not a real feud. And we've seen Usos versus New Day so many times. It's like, I don't know. I want them to do something new with their tag teams.
Words from Wills says, what's up to the three kings of Fightful? Thoughts on Jade Cargill's long-term booking? I love seeing her book strong, but at this point, who beats her? I don't see it being Nyla. It's not Nyla. It seems like Nyla is being used to turn her face. I mean, Jade beating up those guards yesterday, though, was one of the most badass images I've ever seen for a woman, period. And I thought that I suppose if there was a way to turn her face, Jade Cargill single-handedly taking down male and female security guards is a great look.
Yeah. I don't know.
And they were bumping like crazy for her.
Yeah. I don't know what the end goal is, but I am still very much enjoying her title reign. I've seen people that say it's getting stale. I disagree. I think the appeal of her doing stuff like this, beating down security guards and being just like dominant. And it's not just like she's going in and beating people. It's that she's doing exactly what she's told you she's going to do. Like, she gets an opponent, she beats them down pretty quickly. I'm off to the next one. When she cut that promo after she beat Diamante, and she was like, nah, bring whoever you want. They're going to get their ass beat too. I was like, yeah, that's pretty much it. Telling you that from day one, and she's been delivering. So I love it. Because we don't get to see black women booked this dominant that often. And so I think to have a black champion that is a woman book this dominant and not just beat people in ring, but get to do cool that spot with the security guards. Which, by the way, her knocking the one dude out and then standing over him and talking while Nyla ran behind her, hilarious. But yeah, I think what they're doing with her is great. I don't know what the end goal is. I think even once she loses the title, I think she's bound to move up to the main title even after that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Where is Miro? Filming or injured again? It's a good question. Probably going to ask.
Nah.
I don't know.
Goth Style Pile Driver says, Hangman continues to have the drippiest pants I've ever seen on camera. Pause.
Drippiest pants is funny, man. That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I love Hangman. I love that he's getting a chance to reestablish his character. He's definitely going to lose this match to Mox, but I think this is a good thing, just to remind people of what the character is. And I bet you that match is going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
This guy had one of the best matches of the year. I think people forget that. He had one of the best matches, legitimately one of the best matches of the year with Bryan, which, by the way, you can read all my front runners for matches of the year at bleacherreport.com.
Let's go, baby.
Adam, come on. Hangman is one. He's had, I feel like, two of the best matches of this year, to be honest with you.
Let's see. Mad King says Sheeta versus Athena, one of my most hyped AEW matchups. Yeah, I mean, if you've ever seen the match in Shimmer they had, I think it was 2014, Hikaru Shida versus Athena. Check that out if you've never seen it. It's pretty easily available, I'm pretty sure. I want to make sure say that before I look that up before I say it. But let's see. Athena versus Hikaru Shida did happen. It was Shimmer 66, April 13th, 2014. Look at that. Happened in Berwyn, Illinois.
Berwyn. Was that Berwyn Eagles?
Berwyn.
Eagles Club.
Berwyn.
Yes. Yes, of course, Phil knows.
Yeah. Yeah, funny story. There's a guy that used to work at an office I was in, and his name was Cicero. Cicero's like a small town in Illinois as well. And so one of the guys on my desk was like, "Where's this Berwyn guy?" I was like, "That's not that guy's name. I think his name's Cicero. It is Berwyn guy."
Illinois.
All right. Well, that's it for Super Chats. That's it for the Humper Chats. Thank you, everybody who sent in a Super Chat. Thank you, everybody who sent in a Humper Chat. And thank you to everybody who watched this afternoon. Always going to be fun. And we continue to have fun. Check me out tomorrow. I'm on After the Week with Denise Salcedo. It's going to be earlier this week because Denise is in Mexico for Triple Mania.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
therefore, she's gonna get her pronunciation off and make shallow white people angry.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I know.
I thought that was
she covering or she just attending?
I mean, she's always covering this.
Well, yeah, I mean, but like official, I guess is what I'm saying.
I'm not sure what she's doing there. I'll ask, I guess. But we got to record early. So Denise has me up at 9 a.m. my time. We
are recording something with Denise next week too, aren't we?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we have that thing coming up.
This is a thing?
Yeah. Are we recording something with her on like the 20th or something?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Will was
Come on,
all
man.
the way out. He didn't know at all.
Look, man, October is my birthday month. Like, I already got like 100,000 plans at the moment,
That's
and
lit.
so if something slips through, I am sorry. But yes, we are doing a thing. My bad. I was like, y'all plan something without me? I was like, no, we sure didn't. I
Yeah,
know
you were
what
there
we're talking
too. You're
about.
definitely.
I was
tapped
definitely
into.
there. I'm sorry. I spaced it. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. But check out After the Week. YouTube.com/Denise Salcedo is where that show runs. And otherwise, I'll be back on day after Dynamite this coming Thursday. Might have a really cool guest this week. So I always announce those on Thursday, but you all will find out. Philip Lindsey, anything you want to let people know? You just had a new article up.
Yeah. Yeah. All of my front runners for match of the year. If you disagree with me, don't tweet me to tell me you disagree. I don't care.
Don't care.
I don't care. No, I'm just playing. Feel free to comment with what you think is match of the year. I also see that people do this thing with lists where it's just like, well, I'm right, and
Here we
James
go
is
again
wrong.
with that word. I'm triggered.
Lists. Yeah, it's been a weird month for lists. Yeah. But yeah, check that out. I also wrote something on Gunther this week. I think what they've been doing with Gunther is fantastic. I was skeptical on the name change, but I think they've got something special in him at the moment.
They really built up a contender, like for the future.
Yeah, if they actually wanted their champion to lose, they would have options.
I don't know what I don't know what that means. Their champion doesn't lose.
No.
It's champ forever.
Never.
Yes, and it's me. I don't have anything to promote. I don't know. It's Grapsody. Listen to Grapsody. Ask Grapsody. Get you a PWI subscription. righteousreg.bandcamp.com. We here every week, baby.
Yeah, we might have some stuff coming.
Oh yeah, we got some really cool things we're working on. So we're gonna keep moving forward, and we're gonna keep progressing. I don't know what word I'm trying to say, but yes, Grapsody, baby. Will, Phil, and Reg.
Yeah, and no, I was just reading this stuff about. So yes, prayers up to one Dikembe Mutombo, who they just put a statement out that he's got a brain tumor and he's receiving treatment, and the NBA just put that statement out. So didn't get a chance to see that till just right now. That really sucks. So
oh man, rest in peace to Kitamura as well. Forgot about that.
And shout out to Surf too for that Rico charge. God damn it, it's awful out here for us. Jesus. All right. Yes.
Yes. Anyway, folks, we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Peace.